Welcome back to Dance's End. This is session 4 entitled Helgate. At the end of last session, the group made it back to Lakoi Manor, or Lakoi Keep, rather. Sorry, Manor's in a hole. And they elected to rest. At the end of that rest, they gained some experience, and they have leveled. I will not explain how horrifying a situation that was. Thank you, Roll20. But it does look like your character sheets are more functional, which we very much appreciate over here. Um, they are looking like they're going to be very smooth. Congrats. But we want to discuss, too, that the group will also be awarded with a um, commodity or asset that we discussed in the lead up and is mentioned in our handout. Instead of working through each day to day, and trying to kind of describe what happens every single day of these characters' lives, because in that instance, it'll literally just be a non-stop, action-packed slog for everybody in question. It happens in D&D all the time. We are presumptive that there will be some times where access isn't granted to Helgate, some time is required to kind of get to that next step, preparations are kind of taken in order, and a little bit of free time is allowed for the player characters to kind of flourish outside of the context of kill monster um, or investigate thing, right? Or what have you. So we have downtime activities. Now, for this segment, you'll be afforded one downtime point. You can spend that point to perform one of the following downtime activities. You can acquire, which means that you will spend the point, okay, and then you will go and you will acquire something, okay? Now, for this instance, in this specific segment and at your current level segment, if you wish to use your downtime activity to attain a common magic item of your choice, that will happen without spending anything. I don't know if I made that clear. These points create resources. So you have gold, which you can spend on stuff at the shops or any shops you find, but the acquire activity is very separate. You're spending the day working to get this thing from friends, contacts, connections, the like. So when I say for this segment with one action, you will be able to get a common magic item right off the bat. That could be a potion of healing, that could be whatever. Or you could take the acquire action with this downtime action to work towards getting a different and higher tier item. Say you want an uncommon magic item. This downtime activity can be put to you to start a clock, a downtime clock, to acquiring that item. Does anybody have any questions on that process?
I feel like I will have a question once I start the process.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
And more than fine. At any point, as is always the case with every single game I run, if I am talking, it is literally probably just to fill the void of silence that I fear and dread. So you can say something, and I will immediately shut up, and the table is yours. The next one is craft. Similar in essence to acquire. However, craft has a prerequisite, whereas acquire does not. Acquire is kind of working towards attaining the object and doing what you need to kind of hustle, connections, basically move towards getting the item you need, right? A simple explanation of how that works narratively is you spend one downtime activity point this bit and say, I want potion of healing. You get potion of healing. So what you're doing is you're spending all day kind of muscling through like Koi Manor and going, is there anything that can help us here? Is there anything that can help us here? And over the course of the day, you find an old vial that has a, kind of shaky potion. Or you go and you help somebody out in town and, you know that they're an herbalist, potion maker, like the Altier that you met, the magic Altier. And they're like, thank you for helping me with this chore. Here's a potion. Craft is you are actually making the thing yourself. So you need items. You need a recipe. And then you need all of the items that are outlined on a recipe. or any item that is in the player's handbook, it will be assigned a skill requirement or tool requirement that functions with that item. But any item in that book, you can spend one downtime activity and spend gold equal to half of the value of it to produce it. That goes for the potion of healing that was mentioned. And we're going to keep on using an example, right? These are recipe-less items you can create. Now, when it comes to things that require a recipe, this will be like magic items or items that are not considered mundane but might be non-magical. Like if you wanted to build a water clock, that was always the example in 3rd edition. Um, it's like it's 3,000 or 1,000 gold or whatever, crazy amount of dollars. If you're trying to build something that's like outside of that mundane step, you can again spend half of its cost and the downtime required for it. Recipes will outline how much downtime is required for them. Any questions regarding crafting?
Can acquire action be used to acquire a recipe?
It can, because, as we discussed, special items or specific items, assets and services are things in there. Now, when it comes to recipes, its rarity level is typically engaged with the rarity level of the item that it will draft. So let's say
Yeah.
you wanted to, I want to make uncommon potions of healing, the greater healing, I think they're called, right? I want to get a recipe for it. So the downtime clock on that won't be treated as a, one and done common magic item. It will be treated as a recipe for a uncommon magic item. So it will take more downtime activity. Probably 4 o'clock for that. Okay. Any questions regarding that question or clocks or anything we've mentioned so far?
For crafting, just to be sure, we have to have the tools and proficiency to craft
For
certain
mundane
items.
magic items, there will be a presumption that a tool will be needed or a skill will be needed. But when you have the recipe is basically going to say downtime requirement, how many points you need to spend to make it.
Mm-hmm.
It'll say tool requirement or skill requirement, and then it'll say what you actually have to put into the recipe. So
Okay.
for like a baseline mentality of what a basic recipe would look like, let's say longsword, right? I want to make a longsword. Downtime cost 1, because I said all mundane magic items in there will cost 1 downtime activity to craft.
Right.
Statement number 2. Uh, sorry, my brain just did the. What was the order I said them in? It was requirement for skill tool would
Yeah.
be the next one, which would be blacksmith's tools. I don't think there's a specific subset of weaponsmith's tools, but if there are, that's that one. And
I
then
don't think
lastly,
there is.
it would be gold pieces equal to half the amount of the value of longsword.
Okay.
That would be what a basic recipe looks like. But as we look into more recipes, you'll kind of see that there'll be, a necessity for that. Now, back to Jijo's point, and also kind of noting recipes, right? Jijo asked, "Can I go and just find a recipe?" Yeah, as long as it's something that you think your character would know about and be cognizant of and would be seeking. Now, if you say, I want to find a recipe for a world well, right? I want to make a connection to the other planes in a well. And yeah, that would be the case. You could do that, but do you think your character would know enough about a world well to like go for it? Probably not. Now, obviously, in your brain, you're like, oh well, I mean, I really want these boots of flying or something. That's fine. You could try for that. But I think more or less, I'm going to kind of create a static kind of idea of if it's something that seems like it's out of left field and it's just done there from like munchkininess, I'm probably going to offset the clock a bit and make it a little bit longer duration to find it. But if you're like, now I saw a boot flying on the cultist we fought just last week or whatever, and it was a cool item, but unfortunately he fell into a fucking pit when we shot him with an arrow, and there's no way we're getting those. I wish I could make them. You spend time with Acquire, you go find the recipe for the boots, you then make the boots. Okay. Now project. Go ahead.
What if there's an item that might not be listed in and like the official stuff, but like here's an example. We were down there fighting in the underground, and some of us got really messed up by the spores.
Yeah.
Is there something that would give us, like, can we craft something that would give us better protection from the spores?
Already have the recipe. So there's an item called antitoxin, which is listed in the player's handbook. Antitoxin gives you advantage on saving throws against poison, and I believe resistance to poison damage. I can't be for certain.
So antitoxins in the player's handbook?
Yep, and so you could craft it.
So like, okay.
And I would say that would be a situation where herbalism kit or alchemist tools would probably be dope. And then half the cost of antitoxin, I think it's 50 gold a pop, dose. So 25 for the crafting process. And it would take 1 day because it's in the player's handbook. So it is a mundane recipe.
So that's a one time per use thing.
Yeah, the antitoxin would be just and you're good for an hour.
But then I'm able to make that over and over again?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact,
Okay.
if you're trained in the prerequisite skill, it doesn't say... It's not the case that you could only craft it if you have training in the skill. If you have the recipe, you're making it just fine, okay?
Okay.
But if you have the skill, in the case of consumables, you'll be able to create up to your proficiency bonus in number.
Okay.
And in some cases, on some recipes, it may say your proficiency bonus times number, right? If you are proficient. But the case is if you have a recipe and you don't have proficiency, the only thing that it's doing is doubling the downtime request. So if you wanted to make antitoxin without the assistance of anybody you know who has that proficiency, you could do it. It would take you 2 days. Still the same amount of coin.
Okay, but we can get, like, if another party member has that proficiency, I could ask their assistance, but they would have to spend their downtime helping?
Yes. Well, no. They wouldn't need to help you at all. You would be making it. Now, let me explain the narrative reason why you, a guy who's not trained in alchemist skills, would be able to craft an antitoxin in this instance. Okay. You are in a place that has a lot of fucking books. There's a lot of knowledge present on the scene. There are attendants that are there to help you find what you need to find. You're like, I need to make some antitoxin. Where would I look? And they're like, here's a dusty old tome on like anti-venoms and the like. And you're like, okay. And then you find the recipe. And because you're not proficient with that skill set or those tools, which are on site, by the way, all tools are on site. You don't have to have a set of them to craft, because if you're at the keep, we're good. But you'd basically just go and follow the recipe, and you'd be that, like, you know, I almost imagine you like making some kind of very cool breakfast that you often take pictures of and post. It's very much going to be a similar circumstance. You're very kind of focused on the details and making sure you're doing it right. And perhaps over time, we'll discuss how you acquire proficiency with that. Oh wait, we're going to discuss that here in a moment.
So if let's say it takes me 2 downtime days to do this on my own.
2 downtime points.
2 downtime points. Okay, great. Okay, so whenever there's another downtime, I could just make some more.
Yeah, because what you're going to do is you're going to create a clock, and that clock will remain. And so, like, let's say, for example, you want to work on 1 antitoxin, as our example here, okay? So what we're saying is you're spending your downtime point on the craft downtime activity, okay? And because you're not proficient with either alchemist tools or herbalism kit, it will double the amount of time required for the mundane item, so 2. You have 1 downtime activity point. So you'll spend 1 downtime activity point towards the process of making antitoxin. And then you'll take the next point that you need to acquire, the next time you gain points, and put it towards that. There will be a clock started when you put the 1 in. And this is the right finger. I'm not putting the other one up. When you put the downtime activity point, you're basically putting it on layaway. And then boom, you got it.
Okay.
Now, any questions regarding craft? Just one last call for questions there.
So I'm looking in the player's handbook in 2024, and I don't see a reference about the proficiency thing for the number of things that you make. That's your...
This is all me. So
okay.
In the player's handbook, what it tells you is for mundane items, you can craft them for half their value if you have proficiency with a tool set that's administered by your DM. That's kind of weak, and I think it functions better this way. If they have more detailed crafting stuff in the Dungeon Master's Guide when it comes out next month, We will move towards that, but there will be an essence of this regardless, because there are some traits in here that, in my opinion, will function towards narrative beats in the future. So,
Okay.
moving from craft, go ahead.
Just so, because of Andy's example, if I were to make antitoxin because Soul is proficient with the herbalism kit and everything, it would make 2 of them because my proficiency is +2.
Yes. Sorry, it took me a second.
The fact that you were hesitating makes me feel better about the fact that I wanted to...
It's just the way you worded it was very... Yes, though. Yes. Correct. Now, for projects, the next kind of beat I want to get to is you're committing your downtime activity to working on something specific. You are acquired a magic item, right? You've got this magic item, and you want to figure out how it works. Okay? You want to learn how this thing does the thing. So, like, you get a potion of healing. Now, those, bad example. You get a greater potion of healing. Just one, right? You bought it. You then disassemble that with your project, and then with the project counter, once it's done, you have mastered the recipe on how to create that. That's one example, the easiest example. That's why I said it first. Or you acquire something that you know nothing about, like some weird, cool kind of relic. I want to know as much as I can find out about this fucking thing we got. You would then go on a project, and you're, depending on what the object is, it may take time for you to actually, like downtime, for you to actually figure out what it means, what it does. You can also use this to court a new friend or contact in a burrow. So you go, like, for example, we just met the Atelier, right? We're casual, we're cordial, we don't hate each other, we're in a fine space right now, right? What I would say is that you feel like that's a good starting point. You could start a project with this one downtime activity to further that friendship, further that relationship, to court a new friend. And absolutely, you could do that. There's other objects in there that will allow you to kind of figure out what you want to do. You can also acquire recipes for common magic items with a project. It takes one downtime point to learn a magic item, or a common magic item. So if you were wanting to learn the recipe for Potion of Healing, you could either do it by acquire and go get it, and then you have the recipe, or you could search it yourself. If you have a Potion of Healing, you would lose the Potion of Healing and acquire the recipe. That makes sense? Now, obviously, for Potion of Healing, that's one you can find with Acquire, no problem. And it's freer. But if you get a common magic item that you aren't so sure about how it's crafted, i.e., Termaine's Ancient Sword, which is a common magic item, the +1 sword that if you roll a 1 it breaks, you could just learn how to make ancient swords yourself. Any questions on projects? Okay. Recover is not something that we need to deal with right now because we don't have any disease, lasting wounds, or afflictions. But if you spend some time, your downtime, they're replying to me, I think. To court a new friend was what I was saying in the chat.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think they're okay.
Sorry, the other one was...
The other one seemed...
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. We're okay.
We're trying to make a friendly space.
The other one is a name, the Luna, whatever. I think it's a name we've seen similar to, and they are trying to sell me stuff, and I don't.
Yeah.
I don't buy. Because I'm poor. But yeah, we don't have any of that. That's how it's worked out, though. Repair. If you have a broken weapon, your weapon's been downgraded because of damage, you can repair it, as described in that statement. And then lastly, you can train. Train comes in 2 formations, learn and respecialize. To learn, you'll take a downtime activity to learn. You are attempting to learn something new. You will have a tablet, which is like a recipe, and much harder to find. But you'll have a tablet, and that tablet will basically give you instruction on how to do it. A thing. It'll be like proficiencies, feats, boons, features, etc. Are we all aware of the manuals? Manual of +2 stat. We're all pretty familiar with those, right? In the book,
Yeah.
there's like a grouping of different manuals, and all of them basically, upon reading it after 7 days, you get +2 to one of your ability scores.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Those for me are tablets. So you can spend 7 real days in the game if we're like going back to back because we're stuck in a dungeon and there's no room for downtime activities, reading a book. Or because those are a higher tier tablet, so to say, it would cost you 3 downtime activities to burn the book and get the stats. They are treated as a tablet, a learning tablet. So every tablet, like in this game, will function very similarly to the manual. It'll have, this is the downtime activity cost, and this is the actual days like exploring it cost. Another thing is like the manual of golems, I believe, is another one that gives you the ability to craft golems. That's also functionally a tablet. And then respecializing, take this into note, because I know some of us have definitely been in games where you have played a character, thought you were building something cool, and then realized it was horrid and not at all what you wanted to do, and then stopped having levels of barbarian because you thought better of it. Respecializing is your ability to reorder yourself, period. I want it to be in your hands, but there definitely needs to be a cost for it, because just opting out of what you have happens all the time. But I feel like refocusing your character and kind of focusing on different activities is better. When you respecialize, you're going to effectively just remove a shit ton of things for one downtime activity point, and then take, or rather retake, a whole bunch of stuff. So you can go class features, spells, other chosen features to other chosen features. You're just taking what you feel like you put on the character sheet and removing it when it's not normally something that you'd be allowed to do so. Now, that is great, but it will not let you respecialize your subclass. Your subclass is locked. You are an Oath of Ancients Paladin. You are a Divine Soul Sorcerer. You are currently a, you know what you are, Fey Warlock, and you are a Fey Ranger.
We are a Fey kind of group.
Very Fey. But
Fair.
that's not to say your subclass cannot be changed. The subclass changing is very much not an aspect of downtime activities. It will be a function of the narrative. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, now that we have that all on the table, and you all have one downtime point, does anybody know exactly what they want right now, right off the bat? Andy is the guy. What do you got? What do you want?
Like just what I said, I want to craft antitoxin. So according to what you say, it'll cost 25 gold pieces and 2 downtime days / points, right?
Correct. So we're going to go ahead and put up a clock. Now the lowest of the clocks that we have is 2. And we're going to put that under you. And I'm going to move us to the right page so we're all looking at the same thing. Because I see that you're in your keep and not on the clock page.
Yeah.
So this is a clock. Clocks have 4 sides at minimum. So because this is a 2-sider, we're actually activating it as a 2-sider. I'm going to fill it to having 1 remaining. So you are 1 downtime activity point away from acquiring your... You are crunching in the mic. I just want to let you know because you said to let you know.
Sorry, thank you.
It's okay. Do you understand how that functions, Andy?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I stole this idea from Blades in the Dark / Scum and Villainy. So what? I like it, and it functions. It functions really well, and it's very easy and visually understandable. Anybody else have any idea what they want to do? Go ahead, Tom.
Soul and the Atelier are going to become good buddies, since I think at the end of last session we kind of hit on both having the business kind of around town.
And now what's fun about this is I'm going to tell you that this is going to be a 4-point clock, okay? And I want you, and this is very much the narrative beat, I want you to describe to me what the kind of downtime activity that you wish to engage him with the Atelier, is, so I know, how that functions. And based on what you tell me here, will determine whether or not you start with 1 point on the 4 o'clock or 2.
I think it would be Soul going to apologize for interjecting so late and to make sure things were fine after that reference to the adventurers showing up at the door late, knowing from experience that can be a problem, and him getting very awkward and rushing away after that, which I assume means that he showed up at my family's doorstep at some point. But also to facilitate more of a trade sort of relationship between Soul's family with the herbs and other kind of things that would be useful for spell components and other magical effects. Just trying to establish that kind of relationship both with the family and with our group.
Got you. So, I like it. And in essence, I'm going to go ahead and start you with 2. I want to mention kind of like what the scene is, and then that'll kind of help you in the future with these narratives. Very good kind of detailed description of what the engagement was and what you were looking for. What I mean to say, though, is like where and how. So we know that this individual is currently teaching 3 children how to magic, and is very much functioned at kind of a home mindset. You arrive early when the storefront hours are open.
Yes, that's what I was also going to say. At the time of business.
I assume that
not 5 a.m., not 5:30.
Gotta get there early before the sun rises. And what you learn is that as the storefront is kind of open, this is when sort of the general kind of studies are kind of handled. Not like book reading, but like lectures and discussions and kind of slight practice. And then around noontime is when actual practices begin. And it's during this time where the 3 are kind of effectively free playing magic, cantrips, casting, and the like, that the 2 of you actually genuinely connect, like, and have conversations about what happened in your family's past. Nothing's really revealed in this point that you don't already know, but what you will note is it does seem like there is more to the situation than you originally thought, and in this early stage of the friendship, you don't press it. Does that make sense? Okay, so now there is a 2-point star or clock that is on souls, and basically, if it's creating something, it's going to have a circle. If it's narrative focused, it's going to have a star. That's not to say either one is worse than the other. It's just that they're very much 2 different guided activities. Okay, so either Elizabeth or Shibakli, whichever.
I'm ready.
Go ahead.
I would like to acquire a recipe for a rod of the pack keeper, +1. And really, I think, like from a story perspective, I like the idea of Arya making her own rod. And so even if she doesn't currently have the skills needed to make it, I want her to acquire them.
Okay. So for the recipe, what you're trying to create is something that I would say, bear with me here as my notes come out. This would be something that for certain that one of your fellow trio has or had in her possession. You're not sure which, based on your dream from the other night. Mary had a rod of the Pact Keeper, and as it was explained to Arya, it served as a balance. It allowed for your consumption to create a stabilized trio inside of the sisters. And what you think to yourself is if my hunch or my suspicion here is correct, and something ill toward has happened to Mary, or even if not, this item will help serve to balance out the properties of this triumvirate and also allow you to perhaps stand a bit taller when you know the absolute like antithesis of you in the trio. Granny seems to be engaging in a bit more of a powerful position based on that dream, or perhaps visit. You're not sure which, because all in all, the end of that session, like you can't even now tell whether or not that happened for real or didn't.
Okay.
So in the research process, I will say that it will take you, as an uncommon magic item takes for the recipe, it will take you the same amount of time as it would to project one. So it'll be a 4 o'clock for you as well.
Sounds good.
And last but not least.
It's a lot of pressure. It wasn't really covered, but now that I was thinking of it and looking over the spreadsheet, are we able to like find recipes just based off of like an ingredient we have?
Yeah, so that's a very interesting point. Effectively, the project that you'd be crafting is a recipe that utilizes this.
Okay.
With the case with most of the ingredients that we have, in my list of stuff and shit that I have behind the scenes, there is kind of a recipe that rises to the top. However, because these objects are utilized in some cases in multiple recipes for different tasks, the question I will have for you is I am going to project analyze this specific recipe thing with this specific tool set in mind. You do not need to be proficient with the tool set. However, like with crafting, proficiency in the tool set will make it go faster.
Right. So, like, if I wanted to make the goal to eventually, like, try and find a recipe that utilizes, like, the beast mushrooms that we found.
Yeah, the beast mushrooms, sure. And then
Yeah.
What would you say is when you say you're wanting to find a recipe that uses them?
Like a potion.
Okay, so we're thinking alchemist supplies.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would basically form the connection. And so for that, that's easy. With the beast mushrooms, it's going to be a 2-point activity. Oh, are you proficient with alchemist supplies?
No. So
Okay.
I would need to become proficient first.
No, it just doubles the downtime activity request.
So I have 4 then.
4 downtime clock. Correct.
Let's go.
And how many of those beast mushrooms did you have?
2.
And
Or, sorry, 12.
And here's a fun fact. To start this process with a project, you have to destroy one.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have more than one,
We
you
have
can
12.
destroy more than one, and it will perhaps add to the benefit. Now, I'm not going to hold secrets from you and make you choose an arbitrary number so that you feel like you've been totally, taken away from in any regard. I'm going to tell you that 1 is the prerequisite for just doing it right off the tip. 4, and only 4, is the amount that is required to get a boost, and that boost will be 1 additional day off the onset. So instead of being a 4 o'clock, it'll be a 4 o'clock with 2 points already counted to it.
Okay.
Do you want to spend 4 additional mushrooms or just the 1?
I think since we have so many, I think that'll be fine.
Fair.
So
Okay.
5 might take off 5 of them.
Well, you said you have 12.
Total.
He's going to eat 5. Yeah, you're going to consume 5. Get rid of 5.
Because it's the 1 initial and then 4 additional.
That's right.
Okay. Just making sure that I can update the sheet
Yep. And
correctly.
so, just so we have it, this is alchemist supplies, beast mushroom, and then project. And then I'm going to hit show. So, when we come back to this page in downtime activity, if you hold your mouse over yours specifically, Elizabeth, because the other ones are being updated as I speak, you'll see that it has a reveal, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Pact of the Keeper, which isn't a +1 value. If you have the recipe, you have the recipe, just as a heads up. Not that you're going to be able to afford crafting the larger versions. Recipe. This is acquired. And then this was project for soul, friendship, and that is with, let me get the proper name. I always keep just referring to him as the Atelier, but he has a name. Let's call him it.
Zaddy.
Oh, right. It was Zaddy. Yeah, I forgot. It was Marcel Biernat. Okay. And then last but not least, Termaine, you are craft, antitoxin, and antitoxin. Antitoxin, I guess, would be antitoxin craft. Yeah, easy peasy.
Antitoxin.
Antitoxin.
Nah.
Nice.
All right. That being said, your downtime activities have engaged the work-through process in your head. Just narratively imagine, you don't have to tell me it, just kind of in your head, form your own canon as to how that came to be. And at any point during, like, you know, these future downtime activities as you're kind of finishing these recipes, don't think about the, I have an item now. The more fun for me is think about the, how does the item come to be? So for perhaps, you know, Gijo's like, well, I've been looking for this thing. I've been desperately looking for it. And then when finding out an NPC who's a merchant in the game, or perhaps one that's, you know, been listed already, Gijo says, you know, I spoke to this person. They told me they had this old dusty tomb that was a witch's, and they don't know what to do with it. And you opened it up and you realized it's exactly what you were looking for. And they let you take it without any cost because it was more of a curse for them to have it than to not. And then Andy's like, as the mates and the staff watch, just mess spilled all over the place as the untrained elf smashed liquids and liquids together, formulating one vial of antitoxin.
Constantly rewinding the YouTube video, the how-to.
That's right. That's right. It's such a mess.
Now it's real. That's a bit harsh, but like these kind of ideas in your head is the best way to think of how the downtime activity works. Don't know, I went draw there.
It's not just like a ticker like in Celesta.
It is not. Now, when you are crafting, if you wish to craft on the road, remember how I said the recipe will have a downtime activity, or I said it for the tablets. They have like a downtime activity and a time formulation. Certain items will have both. Certain items will have one, because crafting a recipe for a cooked meal isn't going to take you a whole day or 5 days or anything. You'll be able to crack that bad boy out in a short rest or less, right? Whereas, like, you know, crafting an antitoxin is something a little bit more nuanced. It takes some time. So it just depends on what you're crafting, really. Some stuff will be able to be done on the fly. Like Potion of Healing seems to be my go-to example. It's almost like it's intentional. But yeah, it takes you either one downtime activity to craft one, or 6 if you have the trained skill. And then it takes you 24 hours, I believe, of awake time to craft it on the road. Any questions?
Could I know how long it would take me to get proficient in alchemist tools?
So you need to have a trainer on site first off.
Yep.
And then when you're
Find a trainer.
Sorry, not a trainer. Sorry, I meant tablet. So you'll need a tablet for that specifically. So you would need to either try and like study to gain that tablet, the knowledge to acquire that, or you could try acquire. I can tell you acquire for that, I believe, is I want to say it's the legendary clock, which isn't actually mentioned in this. Tablets take 20 downtime points to acquire. So
Wow.
it's costly. And depending on what you're asking for, it could be a case where there's a forced force multiplier put upon it. Like if you said, I want to find a manual of the one that gives you bonuses.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's just a very rare magic item. That should just be 12, right? But because it's also a tablet, it also has the additional amount added to it of 20. So to find one of those, it's 32 downtime activity points. You're spending a lot of your potential resource creation and narrative like resource content for stats, which go for it, fine. But at the same time, that can be considered a waste of time depending on who you are.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions? Great. So, on the 7th of Falun, day 3 for our purposes, you decided to go to Helgate. That was what the discussion was last session. I want to ask, firstly, what time do you mean to arrive at the borough?
Arya would kind of advocate for leaving and getting there as early as possible.
Any contest?
Soul agrees.
Okay.
Fine.
All right.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
So then, of course, and of course, I don't know why it keeps changing what I set it to, but
Is it the summer? No, it's not, right?
it's autumn.
Autumn, right. So then Arya would wake I don't know why, Liz, I keep having problems remembering your name. Ranasil with like a hot mug of cider.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Hellgate Borough, as you understand it before you make your way over there, is split into two sections. There's the town, and there's the keep. Okay. The town has long-term denizens who are more involved with the town functions of Cardend and kind of connectivity with Hellgate proper, whereas the keep is little more than a haven for merchants, bureaucrats, guards, the people who maintain the maw and make sure that it is not just infested with random idiots who will go in there and die horrible deaths, or steal all the treasure inside and run off with it, not give it to cool people like you
Are we the
guys.
cool people,
Yeah,
or
you're,
are we
you're,
the
you're
random
certainly
idiot?
not the rubes.
Let's not go too far.
That is not the right song. What? I'll get the right song in a second. Let's focus up. The very
I
first
believe
thing
you.
that you'll see upon entering into the space are two buildings. The road is definitely much more worn here, whereas kind of the loose dirt that's hardly trafficked and the occasional cobblestone of Midtown, it becomes very much replaced with hard paved dirt roads that you can see truncated throughout the grooves of wagons and auto carriages and the like. Auto carriages are not common here, by the way. They're not a thing that you'll see very often, but that's not to say that they don't exist. They very much do. So those two buildings that you see as you enter, one has the markers similar to the magistrate's keep, the guard station, the town watch location. So this would mark this as basically a precinct of the town watch. And then the other building that you see, and that would be this one here. Sorry, I didn't ping it. The building to the north. The building just south of that, this one here, appears to have a wide open space behind it that's filled with horses, and it looks like it has a very intricate stable system for horse collection. The presumption is that you have ridden here, but that is not a mandatory thing. If you did ride here, then you're on time. You're exactly when you mean to be. If you did walk here, it was definitely a bit longer, and you may not be here at like as early as you had anticipated. Be a little bit later. Does that make sense? So, did you ride or no?
Do we know much how the stable fee is?
Great question. So you could definitely ask back home. It's either 2 silver pieces for an hour's stay, or 2 gold pieces per day, which is paid 2 gold up front, and then the remainder after you get back.
Mm-hmm.
And they not only do they keep your horse, they feed it, they walk it, and exercise it. They keep it housed in cases of weather, and they will protect it with their lives if anything were to happen to the town. Per their clause, it is a they die first clause. Your horses will live.
That is, man, contract law is brutal out here.
Yep.
But hell yeah, horsey daycare.
If you do wish to go and speak to the denizens of the stables, you can. You're not really told much besides the owner or proprietor is a family of kennelborn who are very, very good folks. The Atoim family of kennelborn, which is a relatively notable family moving forward. I'll post their name in the Discord and in the chat. And then I'm going to find that music I said I was going to find. Yes. Yes.
I can already hear it.
Okay.
I can't. Now I can. Okay.
Simple, easy peasy music. Very frontiersy. So upon arrival, 2 buildings, many other buildings. Do you wish to engage with any of the buildings proper? And similar to Midtown, if there's something that you see on the map that's interesting to you and would be like, it caught my eye, or if there's a type of building you are looking for, or if there's a building you've heard about that you're looking for, we can start there. I will say that this town is much more populated than most of the places you've been so far. So there are people kind of milling about the space. Some of them look like farmers, some of them look like hard workers, laborers and the types, carpenters, etc. And there's a constant kind of occasional hammering here to there as people fix this or that on rooftops, building out of porches, everything. It seems like this space is very much either under constant repair or constant expansion.
And we're entering from here?
The north left, yep.
And are we confirming that we're riding in on horse, or?
I think so.
Yes, and I mean, I would be perfectly happy. Well, do we have like a group like coin purse?
Yeah,
formally?
40-30. I would say so, because at least I've been tracking.
Okay, then if we can take the 2 out of that, that would be the 2 gold for the horses.
Oh,
I mean, I would expect we'd be here.
Horse?
This is actually a very interesting point, and I want to get to it. So, before you leave, the coin that you have, they state that you can keep it at the keep, but unfortunately, it does no good for you out in the field. Or you can carry it with you, and all of your treasures, you can just carry them out in the field like some kind of goober. Or you can form a bank account. And I wish I could change the music right now. I wish I had the skill to change it to like the gambling winning sound right now. But unfortunately, that kind of madness is not within my power. What I will state is the bank structure is all throughout Cardend. There is a bank here. There is a bank in the Keep. There is a bank in Midtown, which we haven't addressed. There is a bank in all of the other boroughs. And at any point you wish to make a purchase, you will just say, I have an account with the bank, take it out of my bank account. That can count as your joint like structure. For now, I'm assuming that it's Ronnie who has just a bag that's filled with shit.
Yeah, probably.
So Remain's like,
not-
oh man, I found this cool magic sword. Just tosses it over. Just like, I take care of it. They'll also take your gear and your loot as well, and you can either leave it in there and it's protected and take it out whenever you want at any branch because magical portal fuckery, or you can have the bank take it, keep it, and then put money towards your bank account, automatically dispensing with shitty magic items you don't want, and they can liquidate.
Wow.
Not to derail this too much, but is this called like First Sen Provincial Bank? Did Sen also start bank branch?
I will not tell you that the official bank name, because it wouldn't be something that you would know. However, if you are addressing the one in Midtown, the branch is actually held out of the general store therein. So it's like an actual subset of that main general store.
So it's like
called...
a convenience store having an ATM.
Sort of. Yeah, fair. Or more like a Kroger having like a little bank station in it. You know, it's like that.
One of those like check cashing stations at Walmart.
Exactly. It's like that. So that's Badger Hill General Store that has the bank. In Helgate, since a lot more money is kind of flowing into the circulation due to Helgate, their bank is called Helgate Bank, and it's located at 15. And I will mark it as such. Please do the thing I want you to do. Okay, cool. Okay. Any other questions? Or any activities regarding the knowledge of banks existing, which I totally forgot to do in the downtime activities bit.
Do we get interest back?
So
Is
great
there
question.
like a high yield savings account?
Great question. So no, there is no interest that is accrued on your savings account. However, remember when I said if I started this, I would have played the gambling sounds?
Mm-hmm.
Much like Sen, you could buy stock.
Oh my god.
What does stock do for you? Well, in effect, it makes you lose a shit ton of money. But if you invest in local proprietors, it increases your ability to become friends with them using the downtime activities.
Can I invest in
It increases
apples?
your ability to acquire recipes that are related to the proprietor's functions. It absolutely connects you to that. And if they succeed and win big, maybe you could take your stocks back out. But buying stocks in people here is a process where you are buying in and you're kind of locked in.
Mm-hmm.
Like to buy stocks and
Life. the game
bone
of
collecting?
life. No, yeah, you can. Do you want to? Like, that's a thing that can happen.
Oh,
Can I buy
God.
Apple stocks?
What?
You could buy
I wanna
stock
get in early.
Broad Luck. Yeah, if you want to get in early, sure.
As usual, let's invest all of our money into the bone collector.
Jermaine,
Let's
we're gonna make
invest
it
all
big.
of their money into the bone collector.
Undertaker.
Yeah.
It's a never dying business.
But if you want to just put your excess cash into the bank so you don't have to lug it around, totally fine. And your magic items, you can do that as well. You won't have immediate access to them, but if you ever go to a bank, they can pull it out of the universal bag of holding and hand it to you.
Yeah.
So
I
we
s-
could put the 2 enhanced swords in there.
Sure. Anything that has value can be held in a bank.
Hmm.
That typically just means no mundane crap in the player's handbook.
Wait, where did this 125 get spent?
That was on identification.
Oh, right. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I think for now, I don't want to spend anything, but I would be okay if we started putting our kind of party
In the bank.
party funds in the bank, yeah, I think that would make sense.
Okay. And what I would say too
People are okay with that.
to make your job a little easier on that, Elizabeth, just, you're already doing it. You're probably already moving it into a subsection of bank. But what I mean to say is, if you have items that you're like, this might help us on the road, no one's using it right now, but we might as well keep it, you can go ahead and subset that to, we have it on us and we don't have it on us. Okay.
Okay. Dang it.
So there was a follow-up question about the oh my god, the horsey house.
Oh, right. So
The stables.
you would have
Yeah.
you would have acquired some knowledge here, and I kind of want to do a little bit because obviously I created these characters. I need to flex them, right? So you get to the stables, and outside it would say Bardo's Stables. A fluffy, very fluffy individual standing about 6'5" comes out wearing nothing but a set of overalls. Literally nothing else besides a set of overalls. Kind of pads out to you and says, "Well, hello there. You're the Lord Swornford, Lord Alwyn, is that right?" Show the document.
That's right.
Great, perfect. Well, just so you're aware, explains the rates and says, but yeah, we've hung out with these horses before, so we definitely know them very well, and we're happy to have them back. Okay. So then, yeah, if you pay him the 2 gold up front per horse, he will then take all 4 of the horses and put them into the stable. No questions about anything that was said there at all? I wasn't trying to be
Ghost guide,
subtle.
ghost guide, answer, go.
Nobody
So
caught it.
Sorry, I'm
They-
still.
they
Yeah,
had
this
been
is
there
this is where the
before.
horses came from.
They've been there before.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Sorry,
They're familiar with the horses, right? They purchased them there. Correct.
Okay, so -8 gold.
Great. And, much to that point, I want to stress it, just so you know the connection. Bardo is the person you can acquire steeds from. So if you're interested in a horse, you could get one. If you're interested in something a little bit more exotic, a griffin or what have you, also possible.
What about a giant goat?
Absolutely possible.
A dire alligator.
That will be utilized using the acquire downtime activity. Depending on what you ask for, that'll be durational. It's typically based off of challenge rating the creature you're requesting.
While we are dropping off the horses, Soul would ask them if they could point us to the library.
The library, huh? Well, unfortunately, that's over in the keep. Not too much in the way of books around the town, unfortunately. I suppose Lord Barbos has some in his establishment, but he's not very kindly to folks coming into his house proper, except for those folks who work from the flame eaters, I think they're called.
We're just looking to scour what we can before potentially going in.
Oh, very good.
You understand, of course.
Oh yeah, know as much as you can. I will tell you this: the situation, as I understand it, most of the western side of the hole is currently being occupied by the ale toes. Folks came in from mountain out in the stout woods, dwarves and whatnot. They're doing a lot of mining, bringing up gemstones, doing what they can.
Do you know what kind of gemstones they're getting out of there?
Well, I'm not much of a gemstone kind of guy. I can say that Lord Tethris has allowed it, but it could be the case that it's some sort of magic crystal or something for creating or crafting. The blaze hatches are kind of famous for it, crafting and whatnot.
Are they pink or red?
Red mostly, yeah.
Oh.
I've seen some pink ones though, I suppose.
Sometimes there's variation in rocks.
That's true. I'm not much of a fan of rocks. Typically wood, a nice strong stick.
There's some really good ones in the stout woods.
Where? Oh, in the Stoutwoods? Of course, yes. That's fair. And for those who don't understand the bit, Kennelborn is a dog person. And I am a racist. Not really. I'm not. Please keep watching my stream if you're here. I'm not racist.
Cancel.
I'm so canceled again.
Ban it.
That's all I do. It's all I can do.
I'm gonna ban you from your own channel.
That's fair. I don't know if it's possible. But
It's not.
like-
I'm
it's-
just gonna bop
He's
you.
tried.
It's like sleep hypnosis. I just want to know. That's possible. So
Good episode.
Bardo is a cool guy, and has your horses. Anything that you're looking for in a burrow, or is the library absolutely the goal? If so, you'll be moving on to the keep.
That was our initial goal, but I don't know if anybody has anything else they want to.
How long was the journey from the keep to
On
here?
horse, 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because so like Koi Keep is kind of like out on the field to the east, toward the middle, and then straight south. You're literally hitting Helgate right at that point. And then you would have been able to see off in the distance, kind of southeast of here, massive sword-like structures standing in the ground, which have been told to you to be the barrier around the Hellmaw.
Okay.
I think let's keep to our task.
Okay. So just kind of like a quick description of what you walk past as you...
You know what? I need to take a break.
Okay. Wait, because of the pun, or...
Probably.
No, it's fine. I understand. The walk through town is a simple one. This building here, it being as early as it is, appears to be very quiet and still, but it definitely has a body look to it. It looks like it is a place where some shenanigans get up to. If you've ever been through Broad Ripple, or like a really, like college party town kind of place, and you see the aftermath of a long evening of, just raucous debauchery,
Yeah.
very similar. Half-eaten containers of food, broken glass bottles, here to there, and then some very unfortunate individual cleaning it up on the porch, and getting ready for the next night of business. You see a sign that's posted above the center door here, and it states that this place is called the Wicked Princess Saloon. There's a building behind it, and that seems to be where most of the hammering that you're hearing this morning is coming from. It looks like they are to work on something, and it looks like a carpenter's home. It's a group of another family of Kennelborn that are off to work about it, and doing their best on whatever they're currently working on. You would be told, too, I'd say Bardo would probably be the one that informs you, that a man named Ron Waffle is the magistrate reporter for Helgate.
What a name.
John Caramel, Ron Waffle. These are the current reporters that you've been told about that are magistrate reporters. And his office and home is, I'll go ahead and mark these, hold on.
Can't wait to run into Seth Blueberry.
I'll just do all of them. That way, this is easier. Okay. So, numbers have been added to everything. 3 is the Wicked Princess. 4 is the Carpenter. 5 is the reporter/historian's home. The general store is number 6. The Church of Remembrance, as you pass by it, looks like a very very much under construction building. And seeing inside, the doors occasionally kind of crack open here to there. It looks like they're just left ajar, but it looks like a very dark place inside, with like very strange candlelight coming from it.
We have been told that it's not where we're supposed to sell our bones.
Yeah. There is a building here that has all sorts of weird metal pipes and the like that are kind of like all about it. And it looks like it appears to be some sort of blacksmith or something to that effect. But the sign outside says Gunnery Cats. And you have heard tale of the Gunnery Cats. They craft firearms of all kinds. And those are something you can purchase if you have the gold pieces to get that. We've discussed Lord Tefris a couple of times. Lord Tefris was not listed as one of the lords that is a part of the lords that you understand. Lord Tefris is the owner of the Helma. That's the only reason he's considered a lord. He does not have to have people sanctioned to him to have access to what he already owns. So whoever he wishes to send down there, he can. Tefris is the merchant nobility that has created this source of wealth and the rules assigned to it to ensure that the wealth stays here in Levidia. And it's not pilfered by the conglomerate. It's not pilfered by other entities. There's an old well in the center of town. It looks like it's mostly kind of broken up and not used, but it definitely looks like it's still an empty chasm that leads to some subterranean nonsense. There is a tavern, or rather a tap room, that's marked 12. That's got a sign outside that says the Drunk Goat. This is in opposition to the Wicked Princess. The Wicked Princess seems to be more of like an open air saloon type setup, where this looks like it's a hole in the wall kind of just place where people drink to just be drunk. Most of the buildings on the right side of this map are going to be owned by Lord Tefris, his compound. And then the stuff at the southmost portion of it, we discussed 15 being the bank already, but you would see that there is a massive, what looks like a carnival, that is currently not active or like, doing anything crazy or whatever. But it does look like the folk who would be associated with a carnival, some might say carnies, are currently in the process of getting ready for the day. You can smell the, popping of kettle corn, and perhaps the bagging of it. And there's folks that are kind of wandering about that are kind of moving this to there, cleaning up a lot of manure from animals within, and the like. The smells are familiar to all of us, but past that, on the road through the carnival or on the back end of the carnival, you can see that it leads towards the keep, which is where you are going. And I was obviously deflecting for a whole long time because I am a bad dungeon master. Joking, I'm the best dungeon master. Okay. So the keep, and in essence, the Helgate, as we understand it, is a very busy, very just vibrant place that exists on a, I would say floating, but you can't be sure whether it's connected or not, but an isolated patch of land that is connected to the edge of the hole in the ground by a single bridge. To the south and to the north of you and all around a massive hole that goes for as far as you can see in most directions. Massive hole, like an entire burrow-sized hole. You see large sword-like structures that have been implanted into the ground around it, or built up around it. And when I say huge, I mean like 50 feet tall things that have been kind of planted into the ground, showing these symbols.
I'm imagining like a sword for a titan.
Yeah, very much the case. 100%. And also, like, the background picture for most NPCs will kind of be the edge of the maw. You'll see the swords kind of in the presence there for a visual aid. When you first enter into the gates here, and this being your first time entering into this space, you'll note that the statues that are closest to the bridge are two massive scorpions. If you have history trained, you would know that the symbol for House Tefris, the noble who purchased this, is a scorpion. Red scorpion on a black field. You would also note that there is a serpent coiled around a curved sword in statue in between two doors. One door appears to be for entering, the other door appears to be for exiting. There are no guards present in these places, and it seems that the doors have not been open for too long, as you arrived here very early. But it does look like there are still people who are kind of entering into the space and getting set up. Inside of the space, as you move up, you're allowed in, kind of show them your lord's ticket, or you just enter in. It doesn't seem like they're trying to stop you. Anyone's allowed access to the Bailey here. And the first thing that you'll see upon entering is a massive building in the center of the space, which I believe you can see the whole of the space. And if we do get to a combat situation, I will, kind of drop that vision. But just so we have an understanding of what we're looking at, this is the actual Helgate. There are two massive gates on either side of this building in the center. And the building in the center has two massive doors. The doors depict what appears to be a mage, kind of short hair and kind of, very neat looking conglomerate jacket, holding his hand out to a very large and musculatured woman who's holding her hand out in a peaceful gesture. If you have history trained, you would recognize these individuals as the Queen of Witches from the Denisotvins and the conglomerate Magier, War Magier, who some might know as Reuben. It's a name you can forget pretty easily, I guess. JK, that was a horrible joke.
You know what?
So
I need a
sad.
break.
I'm not even.
Wait.
I'm not even trained in history, and I know his name. No, I'm kidding.
Fair enough. So there does appear to be market space present here, and there does appear to be a lot going on. But as it is an early point in time, and you have a specific endeavor, a goal in mind, you are looking for the library that is here.
Is anyone else trained in history?
No.
Okay, then Arya is definitely going like, according to my
Actually-
research.
I'm a little bit trained in history, actually,
Wow.
believe it or not.
Well, I'm gonna pretend that Arya does not know that.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, according to my research, these statues and this thing and this means, and this is the War Magier, Reuben. Everybody knows his name.
Tremaine would just nod along, letting
Feigning ignorant.
Arya have that moment.
Good.
So, if you arrive at the Information and Commerce office, you would note that the seal of Lord Tefris, the scorpion symbol I've mentioned a couple times, is emblazoned on every single one of its doors. Its primary door, specifically. Like, just the one door. It only has the one door. I'm done. When you enter in, it's a very quiet space. Inside of this very quiet space, there are two other individuals who seem to be at study. There is one large door that is cut off, and then there is a massive desk kind of away from the main table where the others are kind of seated and studying. Where
Is this it?
Yeah, this is the building here, correct.
Okay.
And I'll zoom in on it for the watchers. So basically, seated on this desk at kind of like a higher vaulted point is an individual who, upon seeing you enter, kind of turns the chair, gets up, reaches over and grabs something off of his plate and kind of puts it into their mouth as they watch you kind of enter into the space, wondering if you're going to need assistance. But they very much have a just very stereotypical kind of just lower tier mage kind of vibe to them. Just a regular kind of boyish looking guy, big dorky glasses. You know, imagine someone. Oh God, who's the funniest? Somebody Andy would pick on because Andy's a jock. That's the person we're imagining. He stepped away and I fucking shit about him. Ah!
Classic John.
The other two individuals who are present here, and again, you will not know them by name yet, but you will see them. There's a woman who appears to be wearing vestments, kind of red and white vestments, which let you know that she must be, or is presumed to be, a cleric of Atavius. Instead of a holy symbol, though, she has what appears to be a card. What are the little, like, green and white pictures of people from olden times? What are those called? Cameo, right? Is that right? Yeah. It's a cameo of a woman. And she is seated next to her is some sort of kind of weird arcane lantern that's kind of placed on the desk next to her. And then the other party who is present here in this space is a red-headed woman wearing leathers and kind of armor pieces. She looks very intense and is kind of focused on a very large book. And next to her, kind of seated, almost seated really next to her in a chair, is a staff made out of very hard-looking wood with a crystal that has been hung in the very weird gnarled branch of it, a green shard. They are seated as far away from one another as they can be at this kind of in this room.
Because they're not gay.
Well, if they are gay, they don't like each other. Not all
They're gay. That proves it.
We can feel the shade.
Yeah.
Damn.
They're
There's so
sitting
much
5
to
feet apart
learn.
because they're not gay.
There's so much to learn.
They
So
hate each other.
Fair enough. So I will say that the priestly-looking individual does give you a bit more kind of like, attention. Seems to be easier to distract her from her task, whereas the red-headed woman is absolutely devouring this book. You can, if you sit there for like a minute or so, the flutter of pages is absolutely maddening. But for the more arcane-minded, you can tell she is absolutely consuming every word of text she's looking at.
Okay.
How dare you hear every word?
You're a villain.
I can be. That's what Dungeon Masters can do,
yeah,
Good.
yeah.
I'm not a probable one. I mean, I'm guaranteed to be one. But yeah. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah. Soul will head directly over to the. It looks like there's a shelf with the books on there, and kind of scan to see if they can identify like any kind of order or pattern.
So if you have any of the knowledge skills that we kind of associate with like recalling lore, you can absolutely decide to look for certain subject matter, and based on whether or not you have like the correct proficiency will determine whether you can glean that knowledge here. What are you wanting to research here?
The primary thing that Soul's at least interested in is finding out more about the crystals.
Okay.
Especially since I saw the two-mouthed demon consuming them. We've, found them under the smithy, etc., and more from a magical perspective for Arcana.
Okay. So this is going to be a block of text that I'm going to be reciting verbatim from my brain mostly, but effectively you're getting a lore dump. So just take notes accordingly. It won't be super long. It's very beat for beat. In the beginning, So in the beginning, it is believed by some arcanists that a song was sung to create everything. A resonance that created reality. In that time, the crystal sphere that surrounds the world was broken it was originally complete, and parts of it from inside of its sphere structure fell inwards when the song was sung. It is believed that those pieces are what created the elemental chaos to begin. It's also believed that all magic stems from that song, the Song of Creation. The shards that are found in the material plane are called Cyric stones, and they are potent magical relics. Very, very rare. Legendary items, to be sure. We've encountered
Sometimes
those before.
cursed.
Sometimes cursed. Yes, Cyric stones. The crystals that you are familiar with as chaos shards are the growths of chaos magic from that earliest time that grow inside of the elemental chaos and are an aspect of all. They are fire, they are water, they are air, and they are earth, combined into one thing. They can be drank, as you've seen in your horrible nightmares. They can basically be whisked away. They can be broken like earth, and they can burn like flame. Because of this reservoir-like station of magic.
Can you back up just
Yeah.
one little bit there? They're growths of chaos magic. Are they from the plane of chaos? I
Sorry,
kind of lost that little
they're
part.
not growths. I might have misworded that. They're growths from the elemental chaos. They're not growths of chaos. They are basically, in essence, a natural thing that occurs in another plane that sometimes spreads through ley lines into other places.
Let me back up a little bit more. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I want to
go for it.
understand this. So there's the song. The song breaks the crystal of the crystal sphere.
Mhm.
Magic stems from the song. How does the Cyric stones relate to the crystals that were broken from the sphere? Are they the same thing?
Cyric stones are part of that crystal. Yeah. So Cyric
Part of
stones
the
are
crystal sphere.
very potent magical artifacts that or legendary items rather that have like a source of magic in them. They are like all enchantment is kind of like lodged into one, and they're not unique either. So there can be multiples that have similar processes. There are different colors that kind of determine what a Cyric stone is.
And
So
how do they get to our plane?
they fell.
Okay.
Yeah. So crystal sphere. Think of
Right.
it like what's the name of the crystal bubble around the world in the Bible?
Don't ask me.
Oh my God, the firmament.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah,
think
yeah.
of the crystal sphere as like the firmament, and inside there was this kind of crystalline structure inside. It wasn't just a clear, like perfect sphere. When the Song of Creation happened, the crystal sphere became spheroid, and all the pieces inside that were basically growths broke and fell inwards. Some of those pieces created the elemental chaos. Some of those pieces rained onto the earth. And from some of those places, chaos kind of blossomed because it's connected to the realm that song kind of created.
So the chaos shards are the result of that.
Correct. And
Okay.
the shards themselves are kind of like a growth of the elemental chaos. They are kind of a thing that occurs naturally in the elemental chaos planes, but it kind of grows out into the material plane through ley lines or through points where there is a large already present cluster of those shards.
And some magic users will get power from that.
Well, that would be an arcane question, and definitely one that Soul would kind of query. And you would know that chaos shards can be utilized as not only like a part of component casting, similar to like Residuum, but they can also be utilized in like creation of powerful magic items. In fact, I think sorcerers specifically, wild magic ones, kind of key to a shard that's chaos focused.
But that information also explains where the crystals that were under the smithy came from, since we found what is most likely some kind of ley line where the giant whirly bird of death disappeared into.
Or at least a connection to where a source of them is already kind of present. And in a sense, you already know that there's kind of a connection into to the elemental chaos because what's been described to you in kind of like your hermitage and also in your understanding. This place is absolutely wild with connection points to, because demons kind of essence are connected to the elemental chaos as well, right? The abyss needles through the elemental chaos from the gates, the hells. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you researching anything in specific, Arya, or do you want to try your hand at maybe talking to one of these NPCs? The curator, or like librarian, effectively, he's watching and waiting, and it does seem like he's ready to answer any questions you might have, but it doesn't look like he's jumping or chomping at the bit to help you either. He looks like he works retail.
Like he works for what?
He looks like he works retail.
Try the
Oh.
line, if you have time to lean, you have time to clean. He'll love that.
Place
Oh,
is immaculate.
God.
Place is immaculate, by the way.
Oh man, I'm trying to like string thoughts together.
If you need time, there are 2 other individuals we can force to
Okay.
do stuff.
Dance monkeys.
All right, I'll dance. I would like to ask the nice librarian, hopefully nice librarian,
Oh, hi! That was genuine.
oh,
Oh, hi!
hi. Do you have any like old maps of like Cardin or the area?
I think so, yeah. You can look at them, but unfortunately, we don't have a transcriber or a copier at current. If you have access to a spell that can do it, you can certainly use it. Cardin, huh? Here's one, and pulls out a map. And just to kind of save like space and mentality, the map that is handed out to you is the old Midtown map that we used for the Rush of Badness game. So there are a lot of buildings that are missing from the map, and also a lot of boroughs that are kind of not present and are just referenced on this map.
Because she is. Is there any reference specifically to like around the sorry, I forgot his name. Apple guy starts with an S.
Oh yeah, there was something there. Oh yeah, hold on. And you see him kind of go through some scrolls
Spencer.
stuff on the wall, and then pull out a old like scroll case. And on the caps of each, you see a symbol which I hope is already familiar to everybody in the party, but to those watching maybe not. But a pair of snakes kind of formed into 2 letter C's, the mark of the conglomerate.
Yeah.
He cracks it open, and inside is a kind of a very roughly drawn map of the borough sections, just kind of like placements of the boroughs, not detailed maps. And then in between what is noted on the map as Lake Town and Stout's End, which are 2 places you don't know, but according to the map would be where Old Lake Town is located, and the edge of the Stoutwood Forest, not that far away from Lightquake Keep, you would see that there is a marker in between those 2, right where you presume that Apple freaking guy to be, where a Mage's Tower is marked on the map.
Oh.
Ooh.
And
that's relevant.
Yeah. Can I have I have cartographer's tools. Would I be able to copy that information?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And what I'll note too
Perfect.
is you'll also note that on the scroll case there's kind of this very strange artifice of marking that happens kind of on the edge, like the rim of the caps. If you have actually just roll an intelligence check. You're pretty smart. Now roll bad and I can laugh.
Just on like ability?
Yeah, just abilities. Yeah, so
18.
You're able to suss out that this appears to be some sort of calendar, but a shorthand for it. And if you're correct, which you're pretty sure you are, this was drafted in the year 472. Keeping in mind we're currently in 1170 something. And it looks like it was made at about the same time of the year as you're currently in the month of Falloon.
Wow. She would go ahead and copy all of that information down, and eventually would like to take another look at the actually like explore that well.
Okay. So, yeah, there's probably not going to be much information on the details of that. So you're going to have to go there, right? But what I'll say, though, is the librarian at this point, unless someone is dragging him away through conversation or the like, is hovering and very, very much seems to be focused on you. And when you pull out the tools and start drawing, like, please move the ink a little further away from the map, please. This is conglomerate. This is really, really important materials. Master Tefris would be really mad if anything were to happen to it. It's okay that you look at it. It's okay. It's just, please be careful.
She'll like try and like carefully like prop it over there, and then like have her ink stuff over here.
The practice
better? Just like checking.
The practice here, the cleric is every so often kind of like popping their head up and just paying attention to what's going on, and just seems to be cognizant of the space, whereas the redhead, nothing, right? Up until this moment where you actually see her kind of like look up and kind of stare like across the room or table at Ronnie and kind of look at the map and then look at her and go back to her book.
Don't judge me.
It was more, it wasn't, roll an insight check. Roll an insight check.
24. I'm really good at those.
So it may have come off as me kind of being judgmental in my face, because that's just my resting bitch face, and I have that. That's what I exist to do, is just be C-wordy as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
However, although the picture may have denoted that she may be the same, she is not. She has more expressive.
She's more like interested in.
It was more of like a
things.
What are they up to?
Oh.
And then kind of back to her work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very much the case that everyone clocked that whoever these two individuals are, they know you for some reason. Like, they are paying attention to you, but you're not sure who they are yet. If you look at your handouts list, you may be able to figure it out if you're very intellectual and smart. But
I did notice the last name of one of them.
Oh, yeah, and absolutely related to who you think.
I was going to ask how they feel about breaking and entering, but I figured that might be too forward at this point.
Yeah.
Wait.
Well, to be fair, it wouldn't be the first time someone with that last name's player.
Yeah.
Does it seem like they have eyes on the back of their head?
That was a very horrible joke.
Mine?
Mine.
Thank God I was dissociating and I didn't catch the joke.
That's okay. It wasn't like super horrible. I was just saying that there were some people who didn't need to message her.
Oh, okay. Oh shit. Oh, this is weird. Okay.
Okay.
Are we done? Are you done with your piece?
I'm done with Ronnie for now. And then Sol has also done some exploration. Does Tremaine or Arya have anything that they want to commit to in here, or do you wish to go out into the marketplace and dilly-dally there?
Yeah. Well, I think. What is the? So I'm trained in religion, and before I was a acolyte of Halloween, I came from a culture that revered both Halloween and Atavius. So what would be like a typical like Atavian greeting that like the devout might use when greeting each other?
Sure. It just depends. It's very sect-based. Order is absolutely an illusion, as we understand. So it's very much kind of church-focused. When it comes to like in the Bynod, which is the Book of Atavius, what would be kind of like considered something that would have been cordial as a greeting or formality would be the sun shine its rays upon you.
Okay. So Ari, would one look for a book for like a baby's first guide to the Helma,
Mhm.
kind of like text, just like
Helm all for dummies.
what are the first levels like? What can we expect? What are the dangers? I mean, I'm not expecting anything like groundbreaking or anything, just a primer.
Can we find a Prima strategy guide to the Helm, John?
Right.
Fair
Nintendo
enough.
Power
A document that
walkthrough.
will kind of
Yeah.
give you kind of general information. You're not looking for
Yeah.
anything specific. You just want something to have textually while you come to this
Sure.
recipe. And then you say,
And then I, kind of like look at the cleric and say, the sun shines upon you,
she will kind of
cleric.
smile and kind of like look at you with a bit of a radiant like grin, which wasn't really kind of present when she was looking at everything. She just had kind of a quizzical but like positive look. But now she's very happy and she kind of leans forward. She says, "You four came in together. You're the new Lord Sanctions group, are you not?"
Yes.
She pulls out a notebook and a quill. Well, it's more of a pen, actually. It says, "What do you call yourselves?"
Oh, that's a good question. Well,
You haven't picked a
it's
name
our
yet?
well,
Or
it's our third day on the job.
did your lord not give you a name?
Ari will whisper to Soul, and
What do we call
like,
ourselves?
did we get a name?
Well, when I signed on with Lord Bearwald, he told us that we would be known as the Hounds of Fullix. Unfortunately, we haven't had a chance to go into the dungeon as of yet. Unfortunately, Master Hornbeck is not ready yet. It's been committed to some activities with the Balthanier royal family.
Bethanier?
Yeah, the royal family.
PHULOX.
Oh no. Sorry, this is no material. Let me get you. Carden.
Hounds of Fullix.
Yeah, Hounds of Fullix, and then she hasn't introduced herself, but she'll go ahead and do so now. I'm Alice Blitz. I serve as a functionary for the Church of Atavius, primarily out of the city on the mountain Heisrick. But unfortunately, my novice station didn't really afford me a lot of access to a lot of the materials I was looking for. And when I asked, when I asked my teacher, what should I do? He said, well, you should make a name for yourself. And I guess I did. Tried that. But there really isn't much room for folks up there that aren't really focused on the king and his goals. So I decided to come down the hill and might connect with. I might be going into things too much. At that moment, you hear the redhead say, "Can you please keep it down? You're being quite a bit rambunctious with your conversation, and I'm trying to study. Thank you." She'll kind of go back to her book, and you'll see Alice kind of, "Oh,
Is that your girlfriend?
no, I believe her name is Cassandra Gray. She's one of the Flame Eaters out of Helgate.
Oh, I see.
Their group is very successful. Individual upon their group, Randolph the Azure. He's probably one of the more powerful mages I've ever witnessed. Have you heard of the spell Fireball?
Yeah, yes.
He can
Yes.
cast it. I think my prayers will allow me to do something close to that effect, but it could be some time before I'm powerful enough to do anything like that.
There is great power in faith. Sometimes greater than even arcane knowledge could ever award. Keep the faith up. And so Arya will explain that she's, uh, devout of Halloween and works in Cardin and has been serving the the Lord.
I had a chance to meet with the Itavian church keeper. I haven't had a chance to meet with Maluriel as of yet. I just haven't had the time, really. Um, I'm doing the best I can. I've actually, she points to the book you have. I've actually read that a bit. I can kind of explain it to you if you don't want to go through it. It's a bit of a dull read. I think it was written by some guy named Slayer or something. Not a very good linguist.
That does sound like it would be really boring. Sure.
Well,
What's
the long and short of it is he states that the nature of the Helmaw is, well, the main rule of thumb is that if things die there, they don't really die. They, in essence, so the twisting natures of the ley lines present inside of the space, they're either obliterated entirely or completely reborn and restructured to the way they were before death. I have heard, well, Randolph, as I mentioned, powerful wizard. He's been down there a couple of times with some other groups who I assume were members of the Hounds of Fulux before I and Andovan joined. The other young master.
Wait, I and who joined?
Oh, sorry. Apologies. I've got it mixed up. Bear with me here. Randolph is a part of the Flame Eaters. I said something wrong. The mage on our team, Alazar, not Randolph. Alazar is the one who's gone down. And before I and Andovan joined, they were with others. Alazar and the young Lord Adrian Victicus. And the name Victicus might be familiar to some of you. We'll just leave that for now. Don't worry too much about it. Don't think too hard about it. And if you're watching other shows, please don't think too much about that either. I just want you to forget.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Good. That's exactly the response. She would say, Andovan is a young swordsman and paladin of Atavius. He wished to join the companions of the Rose Sword, but unfortunately they had just inducted their 77th member, and due to the nature of their structure, they can only have 77 companions at once that serve under the king. Some individual named Tormain.
Yes.
Like, not really paying attention to what's happening. But Tormain, what were you doing while this is happening? Let's cut into that real quick.
Oh, I mean, he didn't have any particular task in mind, and it was more accompanying his companions, maybe getting to know them better or something like that.
New plan, Ronnie. Instead of perching up the map to have it on the table, you go, hold this, Tormain, very gingerly and carefully. Just hold it up and make sure it's a far away distance from all of this ink I'm splashing about.
And then maybe he holds it a little too tight and rips the edges or something.
Yeah. But nobody notices because they're under.
Typical fucking jock.
And then you hear your name and you're like, huh? You kind of lower the map, huh?
Lower it down.
And Rennie's like, up.
I can't see it anymore.
It's behind the table.
I lost my spot.
Oh god. I have to start over now.
Oh my gosh, I have to draw the map all over again. Just rips the thing. I've never done that. I would never do that.
Not once, not never.
So, as I was saying, they mentioned that the 77th companion that Andovan wished to replace was Tormain. But then she states, yes, Andovan Hornbeck, he is not quite yet a Sir, but he serves as squire to maybe someone you've heard of. And then she says the name, Seth Highland, who we discussed is the most prominent of the companions of the Rose Sword, and is potentially the greatest knight or swordsman of the age.
For now.
For now.
Wow.
That is absolutely correct. For now, he is the swordsman and knight of the age. So, giving you an idea of the pedigree of who the Hounds of Tulux are. And I'll go ahead and just, even though you don't see
Man,
them, you'll see
Alice
them.
is a gossipy fuck.
You'll see them about, and their descriptions are kind of given.
Ooh, cool.
They're a cool-looking group.
Part of me is like, I want to kill them and take their stuff.
Yeah,
That's sick.
that's absolutely it.
Sometimes shit happens in the Helmaw.
Right.
Yeah.
And they won't die though, or maybe they'll be obliterated entirely.
Yeah, I mean, those odds are something.
There was no percentage that was given, so there's no odds.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
It's
like,
just,
I don't.
Maybe that's it, or maybe that's not it. Then you get to do it again. What do you mean? Okay, so the map would be copied at this point. Soul, you'd have the information you gleaned. Arya, you get the gossip. Absolutely. I assume you have a fan for some reason that came out at some point during this dialogue. Just
like,
yeah. Absolutely. And then
Ooh,
Tormain,
Jesus.
you serve as himbo in the most himbo fashion.
Pretty much. Yep.
Okay. Anything else you wish to try and get information-wise from here? I would say that took probably the better part of an hour or so. So you did get the horses for a day here. So if you wish to remain present, you'll only be saving money. Or if you wish to ride back to town and have objectives there, you can engage in that.
We could go in.
You could try to go in.
I didn't bring rations.
I mean, I'm sure we can get rations.
There are stores.
Yeah, there's a hustle and bustle, and it seems like a lot of the things that are being sold to individuals outside that look like they're kind of stuff like that. You would actually see at this point a group of 4 individuals walk past, and you hear people kind of talking outside or close to the building, or maybe even the dorky nerdy guy say, "That's the Voffley crew." Voffley crew. Wow, my brain didn't say words right. And you would see that there appears to be a paladin who is of artificial make, wielding a big green great axe. You would see a witchy-looking individual who is got a rat with a brain exposed on its head.
Oh, I love that.
A dorky-looking rogue, and a constantly drinking bard. And out of character, these are very much just reference characters to something else entirely. I am a hack fraud. But they appear to be going into the hole.
Cool.
Okay.
Gathering their last provisions and getting ready to go into the main door of the building, the center of the keep.
Oh man, Ava is so cool.
Yeah, pretty cool.
If you've ever seen the show Dice Camera Action, which is a D&D live action game online, it ran way back when, and unfortunately doesn't run anymore. But yeah, that's the characters from that thing. I'm a hack fraud. I liked it. That was a really good show. Chris Perkins was the DM, and
I mean, it doesn't technically. It's not still running, so it's fine.
yeah. It's cool to put in references. Probably not
Yeah.
to highlight them like I'm doing right now, but
More of like an Easter egg.
I'm not good at media. I just run games online for people. So do you wish to try to go in? And if you are doing that, do you wish to pick up rations before you go in?
Let us pick up rations.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Trail rations are absolutely for sale. They cost 3 times as much as they would in the player's handbook.
Wow.
Great.
Effectively,
Fucking
you're
airport price gouging.
You're getting airport price capturing. Yeah, correct.
Wait, they cost 3 times more than what?
Player's
They
handbook.
cost normally.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, it's like in the airport when you go to buy a monster and it's $15.
Yeah.
Right.
Or you want to buy
But
a
these
set.
rations are duty free.
They they would be considered duty-free. Also, some of the rations that are on sale appear to be fruits and vegetables and things that you've never seen before. And they would tell you these are things that grow within inside of the Helma. In fact, if you search long enough, you would see that somebody is selling red crystals.
As a ration?
No.
No. Oh.
Not everything
Man,
is
I saw
rations.
somebody eat them.
There's definitely a lot of food that's on market here. It looks like a lot of the farmers kind of bring their stuff out here. In fact, you also have livestock that's present and on site. But there are some vendors who are also selling baubles and trinkets that were found inside of the mall. Presumably, the case is that adventurers go in, grab some shit, come out, sell it to these merchants. The merchants try to flip it before they leave, and then they dip. They go somewhere else and sell the spoils of the Helmaw to, either one of the boroughs up on the mountain or somewhere the fuck else.
Yeah.
So rations are 15 silver piece each.
If they're normally
How
5, so it's
That's a gold and a half.
Yeah, per ration.
how long do we think we're gonna be down there?
Gosh, could be a
We
while.
could just go for a couple of hours if we want.
Do you see that happening?
I don't know. I've never been.
You have till the morning of tomorrow to get your horses, otherwise it's going to cost you another 2 gold.
So, should we plan to just spend the night?
Yeah.
Okay. So, if you move to the doors soon after purchasing your rations, you'll note that you can see that the door is currently closed. When the door is open to you, you'll see the door on the opposite side of this room close as the last of the 4 of the Bopley crew make their way out. And the presumption is that Nathan, or the guy who was drinking all the time, who you don't know the name of yet, was the guy who was last out. Inside of this space, you'll see that there are 2 individuals seated at a desk and a number of other seats kind of across from them. They'll gesture for you to enter in. Nobody really seems to be kind of, up and about or guiding you, but they'll kind of gesture towards the seats over there and say, give us a couple moments while we finish the paperwork for the last group of individuals, please.
Oh, it's the DMV.
Please display your Lord-sanctioned status here on the desk at your earliest convenience.
Takes it out.
So, the 2 individuals you're looking at, there is a tabaxi woman. Well, at least she is very much presenting as such. And an old woman.
Cute.
An old man. Apologies. An old man of what appears to be kind of Eastern in campaign setting descent. Not Eastern in real life. I'm talking about Parnak. So, much more brown skinned individual with kind of like a warrior's haircut. Sorry, Zach jumped in the chat just now and said first.
Adorable.
Else, whatever.
Yeah.
But kind of a Parnan, right? A warrior. Think kind of like Roman or Greek, kind of like, muscle man, like Leonidas from 300 kind of looking guy. Welcome, Lord Sanctioned of Lord Alwyn. Very great to get your acquaintance. As I understand it, you have yet to enter into the Helmaw, so this should be brief. There shouldn't be any issues regarding your entry into the space. However, I do wish to warn you that due to certain circumstances inside of the space, do hope that you are very cautious. Even the first tier at current seems to be very dangerous. The Aeltos have yet to return. It could be the case that they are waylaid, but it could also be the case that they have died within and are being kept against their will, as is usually the case with folks who get stuck down there. That said, my associate here, Karabatsos, he will ensure that you are physically ready to enter into the space, if you would just stand at attention and prepare yourself for inspection. The Parnan warrior will kind of go, get up and kind of walk over to you. And as he kind of gets closer to you, it's at this moment that you realize that his left eye doesn't appear to be like normal. In the eye socket, the eyeball itself almost looks like it is not round, but like jagged, like a crystal. And as he looks at you, the first person he moves to is Tormain. His eye comes out of his eye socket, grows small crystalline legs, and then wanders off of his face onto his shoulder, and then moves out onto his hand. Flips his hand upwards and holds it out to you, and kind of moves his hand around you in a strange gesture. This one is very physically fit. Quite capable indeed. Go ahead and mark Tormain of the Rose Sword as welcome. He'll go through each of you in process. The only one he stops at and doesn't kind of give just an immediate kind of absolutely hell yeah is Soul. And the eye looks to you and says, they seem to hold some sort of strange nature to their physicality. I tell you this, the Helmaw is not for the weak of heart or the weak of will. If you could push your body past what I can see that it can be pushed to, I will allow you access. Tell me true, Soul of Cardin. Do you think you are ready? And as he kind of holds his hand out, the eye turns to a reddish color, like the Chaos Shards.
I have been through worse than you know.
You see him smile, and then, ha! The spirit
Your grandma
we need.
killed a dragon.
The spirit we need. And then kind of clasps the eye, and then... All right, then. I see no reason for them to not be ready, Cordelia. The Tabaxi woman nods, writing. And you'll actually notice that she has no pen. Instead, she flicked out her nail and is dipping it in the ink and using her own nail as the quill. After kind of... She'll kind of stop and, like, dust her finger of the ink and then kind of look to you and say, "You're first welcome. Absolutely willing and able and ready to go. And it seems that you have pack enough for you to survive at least the night. The sun will be your guidance, at least in the higher tiers. You will be able to see it within the center of the cavity. Keep in mind that the further you get away from the cavity and its exteriors, within the small chambers and orifices that are present inside of the skin of the wall, it may be the case that you will see things that you have not seen before. I have had reports of individuals saying that the walls become alive like flesh. I've heard reports of entire rooms crushing inwards and outwards and upwards and every which way. There are skies underneath that are as vast as the sky you see above Cardin. There are seas as deep as the Nolanic. I assure you, nothing you can anticipate will be close to what you see within. I am hopeful that you are cautious, careful, and you bring great things back up from below. Historically important things, or anything you wish and think might be of some value. Of course, Lord Tefris, on extraction of any object, will require you to return here for us to analyze everything that has been removed from the place. If anything is removed from the place and is not identified or marked as being brought out from it, it will be hunted down and taken from those interlopers. Also, your sanctioned status will be revoked. More than likely, the objects that you bring up with you will be granted you, and you will be allowed to keep them. However, Lord Tefris has made special claim towards certain objects. I will not tell you what those objects are, for, unfortunately, as was the case with the Hounds Fullux, it could very well be the case that you attempt to take things that are not warranted you. and the lordship is not very happy with this matter, especially when they did not instruct it. Do not be self-minded. You work for the Lord. The Lord has been sanctioned an access to this maw because of Tefres's generosity, and for the hope that your endeavors will bring great wealth and fulfillment to the folks of Cardend and the surrounding Balthanir kingdom. I hope you the best of luck. May Eglin be on your side, and of course, may the Triumvirate guide you on your way to and back. The doors will then be opened by Karabatos, who kind of walks over and opens the door and allows you access into the inner ward. So the outer bailey is where you exited out of. You enter into the inner ward. You see that there are some buildings kind of mirrored to there. You would see that the Boffley crew has taken seats around a table to the north and seem to be talking to what appears to be a guard. The guard in question is wearing white armor with the Atavian cross blazoned on his chest, a helmet nearby which also has the Atavian cross as its front face, and he has a sword staff, which, for those who aren't familiar with an Osirian sword staff, it is a long sword that has been attached to a quarterstaff and is then serves as a glaive. And they seem to be talking to this guy about what you can't be certain unless you wish to pry. You would see that a guard gestures towards this gate here, which leads to the pit. Down we go.
Yeah.
Hit, 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 hit.
Choose road.
Okay. Perfect. It only took 4 sessions. And now we can kill the party. I mean, what? The descent. As you make your way out of the gate, all you see is a stone structure that sits atop the open maw of this dungeon space. There are staircases that lead down to small, hardly worked trails that descend along the outside of the wall, or the outside of the ring, and down into the maw itself. You carefully make your way down, and you understand why horses weren't allotted. If a horse was granted you, you would probably end up riding it straight off of a cliff and into the depths below. It takes you 1 hour to descend to what you understand to be the first layer. On the way down, below you can see like a porous piece of pumice, whatever, however it's pronounced.
Pumice, yeah.
Pumice. You would see that there are holes and caves and structures that are all throughout this space. The sounds of wind and water and quaking earth and moving fire can be just heard everywhere. It's a strange sound of ambience that kind of hovers inside of this cone. The width of which is, as far as you can see out, it is either bright sunshiny light coming from above or dark shadows because of the nature of this jagged structure of this maw, this hole in the ground. When you get to the layer area, it becomes very apparent to you that there are ways out from this place, and there are kind of flat areas that are effectively considered to be like a structural base of operations. There aren't any people present here. There are some signs. One sign that points to the southwest says, "To the smith, all welcome. Repairs, base cost." And then it repeats this in 3 different languages, which you identify as Draconic, Elvish, Dwarvish. There are no other signs that you see at current because of the way you descended from the Helgate. You are on the south side of the hole. On the south side of the hole, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 openings one with a sign near it, two to the east of that, and one to the west of that. Again, those are not apparently marked. And to be sure, no one has Druidic, and no one has Argot from Thieves' Cant, right?
Correct.
Right,
Cool.
right.
I'd like to kick up
Oh,
comprehend languages.
okay. It won't help with these languages.
Okay, never mind.
They're-
Do I know that?
Yeah, they're code languages. You would
So I can't even like see it as a language, really.
right, because they're not really written as a language. It's more or less like a drawing of a duck, and that means something to someone who understands the code, right?
It's more like hobo code.
Yeah,
It
Gotcha.
changes with the environment as well.
correct. A lot of influences what the words mean. That said, though, the south side of the hole is what we're talking about because it's the closest. However, it is not everything. It rings around the entirety of the hole at this first layer, and it looks like there are more passages on the other sides, on the west side, on the east side, and on the north side. And it does look like you can descend further if you wanted to, but it looks like it's at least another 300 feet down and more in shadow to descend to the next layer. And it looks like it's a bit more precarious of a descent than the one you just took. So, how would you like to proceed?
I suppose the way that we can read.
Okay.
Yeah.
You head to the smith.
We don't have a map to look at, right?
Oh, no, yeah, not yet.
Okay.
So the way that the dungeon is going to be mapped, just so you understand it, I just described things to you. If you're not drawing it, the only time you're going to get that description again is if you're standing exactly in the same place that you were. As in, you descended down from Helgate and landed on the layer. The only way you're going to get that same description is that way. Now, when you enter into this space, you'll get a different description, or you'll get a map. And in this case, you're going to get both. So there's obviously no shadow shenanigans. It's very open. You descend down into this cave, and then you start sensing that you're walking on worked stone. You hear the sound of hammer ringing on anvil, and then you step in, and then kind of up, kind of like a descent down and then up into this space where it feels quite warm compared to the very cool nature of the maw. And you see a redhead dwarf wearing a blue kind of mantle on himself in a very strange looking spiky patchwork studded leather, slamming a hammer against the anvil. He stops and settles the hammer down and looks at the door and then sees you enter in and goes, I don't think I've met you before. Obviously you got past the guards, so who are you?
We're Lord Alwyn.
Oh,
This is our first time down here, so
well, very good. It's great. We've definitely been looking for new folks to do things here, yeah. And you're just new here, though. Do you need repairs?
not yet, but we figured we'd familiarize ourselves with where everything's at.
Oh, okay. Sure. Do you need any tools? Gestures towards the weapons on a table nearby. Perhaps? Nothing special or fancy or flary or magical. Just normal, mundane stuff. My brothers down below, they sell some interesting items, but I unfortunately just have what the keep brings down.
Is there a smith per level?
Yes, well, one of our brothers have tried to set up a place for folks to kind of establish themselves and maybe use as a base camp. They're not always kind of in the same place. They're scattered throughout. Wherever is safest is where we set up, yes.
Good to know, thank you. I don't need any tools. Do you guys need any?
Well, I was wondering, is there will we have to, I don't know, scale any cliffs, or
Mhm.
I don't know. I didn't bring climbing gear.
I'll
Is that
be-
something that we'll need?
I'll be completely
Hammer
honest.
pittance.
I don't do much traveling out there. When I arrived, my brothers and us, we set up a network for us to communicate with one another if necessary. But we don't really do anything with it much because we're busy at our jobs. He raises his hand up, and you see he has like a ring that kind of extends all the way up to like the tip of his finger. It's like one of those gauntlet kind of rings. And he says, we don't have much need for eating or sleeping. We just do our job. And then every so often we get a vacation. But we get paid very handsomely by Lord Tepris. And, well, also Master Lord Blaze Hatchet, the Blaze Hatchet clan. The only thing I could say that I know about this structure that is of most interest to me is the Blaze Hatchet's miners, well, crew or Lord sanctioned, whatever they're calling them now. The Aeltos are just next door to the west, but they're mining chaos shards.
Have you heard from them lately?
No.
Oh.
Well, we don't talk much. Dwarves, we're not very conversational people. Although, I think I have a knack for it. Huh? Eh?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The gift of gab. Yeah.
Suck that, brothers. So anyways, I'm probably the best. That's why I got to stay at the top. It certainly is very comfortable and cushy and nice.
You're the best introduction to the family?
I would say so. Yeah, you think so? Well, then tell me after you've made it all the way down to the bottom layers. Which, I don't even know. It's... I think 11
How
layers
many family
now?
members do you have in here?
I have a lot of brothers. So many brothers. It's like one for every color of the rainbow, really. But I would say that if you go down there and you see them, just ask them and talk to them, maybe. And if you think that I am the best one that you've ever met, then, well, come back and tell me about that sometime, eh? But if they are nice to you and you like them, then just don't ever come back to my shop again. Eh? I'm just kidding. You can come back. Lie to me, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. What this accent
Or maybe
is.
it's the truth. We'll find out.
It's changed 4 times. I guarantee you.
And what was your name?
Oh, I didn't give it. But are you asking me it?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I haven't made one up yet. No. JK.
His
I
name
mean,
is
how
Kip
am I
Smith.
supposed to rank all of the Smiths if we don't have a first name? They're just all going to be named after precious metals.
No. He says his name is Azur, A-Z-U-R, and then the name of the Smiths, the clan name of the Smiths is the Aeltos. Just like the faction of Blaze Hatchets.
Is it Aelto or is it Aeltos?
Oh, the clan would be Aelto, but
Okay.
they are also referred to plurally as Aeltos. Kind of like Blaze Hatchet is the
Yeah.
clan name, but Blaze Hatchets would be kind of like
Right.
them as a group.
I'm just making sure because there are Smiths.
Yeah.
And that's weird.
And for those, does anybody speak Dwarvish here?
No.
Okay. The word Azur definitely seems like more a word than a name. And out of character, they'll each be named after their color.
That is, yeah, my proficiencies did not come.
Oh, colors of the rainbow.
No, yeah. So each one of these, I don't have the handout, but I can do it in general, and then I can show it. But I will. Here, I'll do that while you guys are talking amongst yourselves.
I feel like
No,
this is
there's
my
no-
fault, out of character.
What do you mean your fault? What are you talking about?
Why?
Okay, so
The colors.
1, 2, 3, 4,
Yeah, he
5,
sent me a
6,
picture of,
7,
like,
8,
all 80 of them, and
I can do 9 of them at once, so I can't do more than that. I think, or 10, but here's 9 of them. I might have accidentally copied because there's a couple duplicates. But yeah, they're just all different colors.
Oh man.
The
That's
mantle
hilarious.
is slightly different colors. And this one is the blue one, right? So that's this one, and I'll open that in browser so I don't have to make a handout because I'm lazy. But yeah, that's what they look like.
I
That's what
believe I
he
suggested
looks
his
like.
name would be Azure Gar, but I see that you.
So Gar is definitely a player character function. That seems to be something that happens with them only. So I'm just gonna leave that there. It's also an orc tradition because mountain orcs are kind of dwarf tied. So because there's Krungar in the Sunday game, it's mostly whatever character Joe is making, which is typically an orc or a dwarf.
Dwarf. Stronk.
We love Joe Orbic.
Do you happen to hear when people come back through, like what
Well,
routes they are generally taking?
If they come through, sure, but most folks don't really do much with me unless they need to fix something and plan to return, or if they want to fix something that they don't want to take out and wish to use while they're down here. That will sometimes happen, and I can hold stuff for you. In fact, a couple of the items that are on offer for sale are items I've held for a time and just nobody ever came back. So, you know.
Probably
Might as
obliterated.
well get some money for him then.
Perhaps, and yes, exactly, or put them to good use. I don't mind coin. It is what I'm here for. But
Both good.
I don't want to take up any more of his time.
Well, you're welcome to come here, but I do not house anyone. So if you wish to try and come here and rest here, I cannot. And I will tell you, I seal the stone up when I rest. So if you are out and about, then even the entry layers can be a very hazardous place to remain for a long time. So please don't loiter. No loitering. I don't want them around here. The monsters.
Okay.
You'd be fine. If it was just adventurers that were loitering, it's fine. But the monsters like you, they think you taste good, I suppose. And I just wouldn't like them around. There was a dragon for a while that caused problems here on the first layer, but it's blown away or something.
My family has actually killed a couple of dragons.
Yeah, okay. I remember hearing about the dragon slayer from the Blaze Hatchets. Killed in the Black Spear. A black dragon killed by a moon maiden and a boy, a plucky boy.
Yeah, Sarth.
I think that was his name. Yeah. Oh, you are related to them. Very prestigious individual here you have amongst your company.
Oh, sorry. Shall we go?
Let's go try and kill a dragon.
Good luck. Have fun killing the dragon. You go out into the main space again. From this position, to the left of you, there is an entryway that looks like it leads to some sort of mine kind of structure, now that it's been described to you. So, to the left of the exit of the smith is the Alto mine. There are two passageways to the right of you. Around the bend to the left, on the eastern side, you see one entryway, or cavern structure, and it looks like there are more cavern structures on the opposite wall, the count of which you can't really get a for certain on at this positioning.
What was on the right side of the smith?
Two more entries.
Okay.
I am inclined to check on the Ilto mine since they seem not to have come back as expected, and those crystals, but they may not appreciate us wandering in there.
It also may be dangerous by the sounds of it. Like, super dangerous.
I think any of the
While we're
directions is
here.
dangerous.
I guess we could go. We can always heroically run out if
Look up, sis.
it's
We could
too
do it.
much.
We got this.
Okay. Is that where we're headed?
Yep.
As you head into the cavern, you would see that it has been buttressed by heavy wood planks and beams, very similar to what you would see in kind of a mine shaft. This looks like it's been expressly done, and the ground shows sign of a very neat kind of truck for wheels. The presumption is some sort of cart was probably pushed through here on it to the entrance. Looks like there might have been a staging area just outside of the cavern mouth. And as you come into it and kind of come around a specific bend, you see what appears to be green-colored lights or light source that's causing these very strange shadows to emit inside of the cavern up ahead around the bend. How would you like to proceed? Again, we're not on a map yet. We're still just Theater of the Minding. There are sections.
Does arcane knowledge suggest anything for those green lights? Just
Without
some weird,
source,
spooky
you
color?
Can't be certain.
Okay.
Green, spooky colors, yeah, kind of common.
We should probably approach carefully.
Hmm? Jermaine can go first with the shield out.
Okay. As you step out and kind of look, the very first thing that you see down the hallway is what appears to be a platinum chain hanging from the ceiling to a point where at about eye level there is a lantern very similar to the lantern you saw with the cleric back at the library hanging from the ceiling, but instead of emitting just a regular, what you'd assume, radiant light, it is emitting a kind of bright green light. And something about it, from this distance to you specifically, Termaine, is nauseating. It's kind of like it almost makes you want to like throw up in your mouth a little bit. It's like gross. If you have Arcana trained, I have one more piece of information for you, but I'm assuming that's not the case.
Yeah, it is not going to be the case.
Okay. Do the others follow behind?
I would explain what I'm feeling that to see if the others are having the same effect.
Okay. As you approach it and the others see it, I would say everybody in this group has a different level of nausea. However, the elves are going to be unified. It is a absolute just, this is gross. I don't know why yet, but it's nasty. It's very icky gross. For Arya, there's a grossness, but at the same time, like this strange beauty. It's like this very kind of malignant thing that is kind of present this light. And for Soul, it feels like something familiar, but at the same time, something so far from your thoughts, you can't be certain what it is. But with Arcana trained, I believe Arya and Soul both would kind of realize that the light source seems to be going through something in its center, which is a small vial of fluid, bright and brilliant green, and radiating a color in its own way, which you both would know and identify as Orbo, a magical leftover that causes non-magical fields. Near the lantern, on the wall, written in 2 languages, the Common Tongue and Dwarvish, you see a warning that says, "Do not remove the lantern, or you will doom us all."
Well, that doesn't seem good.
And while you're in the magic field, any magic items are currently inert, and you cannot cast spells, and you can actually feel like this draining effect. If you linger here too long, it might suck the spell slots right out of you.
Oh, so I'm just going to speculate that Ranisil and Tremaine's connection to the Feywild may be a part of what's happening to
100%.
this?
That's why it's very
Okay.
disgusting to you. 100%.
Okay.
Good catch. And
Yucky.
gain inspiration for noting that.
Wow, okay.
Focus on the world, become the world. And also, heroic inspiration can also be granted by class features I've learned and other things. So
Yeah.
keep that in mind.
As a human, I get it every day.
Every day, just has it.
Use me?
Yeah,
That's right.
Wow.
Fucking humans.
Wow.
things are great. You should play one.
Got feet, got this every day, man. Yeah.
I already do that in real life, and I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
Wish I had cool
Exactly.
wizards and magic.
Tried it already.
I feel
So-
like we should
Go ahead.
go forward a bit more to see.
Well, definitely, I want to get beyond this Orvo lantern. We don't want to linger.
Agreed.
So between, I guess, Arya and Soul, we explain, right, that it's Orvo and that it'll slurp the magic right out of you. So be careful. We gotta move. But also that it seems like it's a safety measure.
Mhm.
Right.
Safety
Let's keep
measure
going.
to prevent the overflow of too much magic.
I suspect it's keeping something from coming out this way.
Right.
Mhm.
Some kind of creature that is either connected to the Feywild or magical,
Mm,
that doesn't, wouldn't tolerate exposure to the Orvo.
mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
If you proceed, the cavern will open out, and I'm going to move you to a battle map. I'm not saying we're fighting. I'm just saying we're going to a battle map.
It's the battle map for
Battle
like
map.
playing
Battle map.
hopscotch.
Go to the battle map, please.
Ugh!
So on the exit of the cavern structure, you'll note that like a good 20, 30, 40 feet away from the lantern, you'll see crystals that are kind of in the stone on your left and your right. Above you, kind of just nestled therein, like veins of these crystals kind of present. Some of them look like they've had work like done, like they've been removed, and some kind of like left over. But it looks like they've definitely been like working at removing these stones and taking them from this place. But at the exit of this tunnelway, you open into a very large, empty space. The walls on the left and right seem to be very far away from you, but yet absolutely visible due to the brilliant red glow that emanates from a massive cluster of these shards on an island a distance away from you. And when I say island, I mean more of a pillar that juts up from shadow. It looks like there might be space below or things happening beneath you, but it's all just kind of misty gray. And you don't know how far this pit descends. Every so often when you just look down, you can see a flicker of red here or there. There might be more shards down in this cavity inside of this structure. But for certain, the brilliant light of this central pillar top or island is absolutely kind of capturing your vision. It is the thing that is drawing your line of sight, and everything else just seems blurry due to its radiance. Seated in the center of this space is the thing you saw in the portalway underneath the smithy. A massive tick that is settled on top of the crystals with its proboscis embedded in one of the larger crystals, and it seems to be gorging itself of the red fluid that flows readily from these crystals. If you have Arcana, you can roll it now.
Mm, 15.
Okay. So, Sol, you are not as familiar as Arya would be. The fluid in question is a substance known as vitae. Vitae is like blood. Blood is actually a form of vitae. Vitae is a humorous fluid, or a fluid that is kind of ingratiated into the construction of the essence of a being. But vitae is, in effect, like the Orvo. It is a leftover material. It is something that is created or generated magically, not magically, because people are made of sexy times and they have blood in them. This was a dumb joke. The point is magic creates vitae, whereas like procreation creates blood. It's a different form of magic. If you look closely, and I'm assuming you are not pressing forward, you're just watching the situation. The cluster of things is littered with these ticks, these small ticks that you saw kind of in your vision before. Now, whether this is the exact cluster and the exact massive Big Mama tick that you saw in that portalway is yet to be determined. But for the time being, you don't see any absolutely 100% confirming evidence that this is the same one and this is the same place.
But it looks very familiar or
It
similar.
looks very close to that, yeah.
Okay.
But you might be looking at it from a different angle. It might be a separate place, but connected. Maybe the place you looked at was beneath this. Very not sure.
Well, this is where they're supposed to be, right, guys?
Which, the ticks or the altos?
Well, the altos, I mean. I don't think the ticks are supposed to be here, but I'm not familiar with underground.
Maybe they live here.
Are they drinking magic juice from those crystals?
Certainly seems to be the case. The
You think-
Vitae, the Vitae is a byproduct of magic. I imagine that these vermin feed off of it.
Do you think the lantern relates to keeping that thing out of the surface?
I imagine it and its babies. Instinctually, I think it would be a great benefit for everyone if we got rid of it.
So
Are we
you're
at
saying
gulps?
it's not supposed to be here?
Well, what does that mean, supposed to? I mean, maybe
Well,
this is its natural habitat, sure.
That's what I mean, yeah.
But we're not here. You know, we're here to do a job.
And I've killed a couple of like real ticks in my life, so
I'll say
They
with
are.
passive perception and the ranger specifically, you'll be able to determine that there are that many
whoa!
on the platform.
What? Oh boy.
Whether or not they're all just
How many?
you can see them on the map now.
One,
They're all-
of
two,
them.
they've all
three,
been
A
marked.
lot of them.
four,
It's 20.
Oh, okay.
5. Okay. I was about to count them all.
It's fair. Including the large one. Well, excluding the large one.
Lucky 21.
They are dangerous since the ones that could see us through that portal definitely wanted to consume us too. But I don't know that we are equipped to get over there or deal with all of those crystals.
Well, some of them are little. You don't think we could just stomp them?
Well, I don't know if they could hop across the cavern.
So, I want to note something real quick because it does look like one of the miniatures was kind of moved astride, and I just want to make sure that we're clarifying something too. You move over to what appears to be a track of blood, effectively
Yes.
across the ground, and as you kind of move to it, you think you notice this kind of ruddy color in the stone of the tunnelway. As you walk over to it, it looks like it's slick to the touch, but when you tap it, it just feels like rock and not slick at all, like absolutely just grounded stone. With your arcana, and no roll needed, you realize that this is blood rock. Blood rock is stone that's been infused with the essence of life, the essence of life deceased. Blood rock grants properties to people who fight on it. It is a place that is absolutely filled with a vitality of conflict and the desire to kill. So damage rolls are increased by +2 while you are on blood rock or around blood rock, and in addition to that, you crit on whatever your crit roll would be +1. So if you crit on 20 normally, you don't have any modifiers, you'll be critting on 19 and 20 instead.
Mm.
But
That would also count for creatures as well.
Yeah.
Figured.
don't think this terrain is very favorable to us right now.
Why?
There's this just a sense of conflict attached to the stones here, and maybe that's why the tick was so aggressive through the portal. But I just have a very bad feeling about trying to engage.
Okay. Then we should probably get out of here before they realize we're in here watching them.
If the lantern is keeping them at bay, we can return when we have a better plan.
Yep.
Or
And
when I have fireball.
yeah. What I'll say is you'll be able to suss out why the barrier works, and if you haven't already, Vitae is filled with magic. Ticks
They are
filled
filled with
Vitae.
magic. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, imagine like being drained of like, all the water you drank for the day. It'd be like
It's like a bug zapper.
Immediate dehydration. No thanks. I would like to leave where I just
So
entered.
we lure them through the tunnel,
You could do that, but
and then it's just like one of those little bug lights. It's just like,
But again, the nature of this cavern structure is what you see. It does look like there's a lot that would be considered unaware, like you're unaware of spatially, because it's a very large structure. So you can certainly shoot and do what you want. I'm not going to stop you. I'm just letting you know to take into account everything you're seeing.
I already tried to shoot something one time, and I did not like it.
It was not my favorite.
I'm never going to shoot anything ever again.
I'm never going to shoot again. Okay. I was going to sing a song, but it wasn't going to go well.
be right.
Yeah. So there
You got
is,
struck.
for exiting this space, after passing by the lantern once again, and then moving back into the maw structure as it stands. To the left of you is an entrance. It does seem to the elves that there is more of a sense of flowing water to the west, and also to Sol, because of your affinity. So especially for Tormain, right? Elf plus water, double whammy. They know there's flowing water over there in that entrance. Then to the north, you can now see a bit more of the north side of that cavern structure. It looks like, at least on the western side of the north facing, there are at least 2, maybe 3, one might be smaller, you're not sure, caverns on that north side of the pit.
I've picked bad options twice. Somebody else's turn.
Yeah, I mean, why don't we head north?
Okay.
Okay.
So do you wish to bypass the watery sounding one and move toward the 3 structures that you saw on the north facing, or do you wish to enter this one that's right next to you? Because right now, so far, you've just done door, next door, and just keep on doing left to left. If you want to,
The watery one is the one right next to us, right?
Maybe you're right. Yeah, maybe we should just like get them in order and see
Yeah.
what's in there.
Absolutely. Okay, so this one that's watery, you enter into the space, and hold on. You all die horribly.
So help me God if there are more ticks.
There's
So-
a sweet
The
little
music though. It's great.
there's a sweet little dragonborn somewhere crying
You enter into this space.
about
and
water.
Dynamic lighting is apparently not working, so bear with me here for a second.
Poor Johnny.
What?
The Dragonborn crying about water.
Oh, what? Sorry, hold on a second here. My, like I said, my lighting is off.
Are you being a bad friend and bad GM?
We'll have it handled.
Wow.
That is a hell of an accusation to throw at a guy, though.
It wasn't an
Liar.
accusation, it was a question.
I thought you said you were going to stop shooting.
Oh, my bad.
No, they're just reading.
Just reading.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause
Fair.
it's-
Fair.
Because
What?
reading is what? Fundamental.
Fundamental.
Okay. So bear with me here. I think this works. Hold on. Snapping. Do you see anything or no?
Negative.
Oh.
Specifically Aria.
Nothing, tra-la-la.
I see a ping and a dark black
Void.
Yeah,
void.
same.
Dynamic lighting. Daylight mode. Brightness 100%. Update on drop. GM darkness opacity. No thanks. Page details. All good. Dynamic lighting barriers. Restrict movement. This is Aria. Oh, I understand. I understand and silly. Save settings. Change. Dynamic lighting. Good. Aria. File info. Edit. Boom, boom, boom. Settle. Okay. Nothing. I am getting frustrated. I am getting frustrated. For daylight mode? Do you have sight? Yes, vision is good. Change here. No, I'm talking to the computer.
Oh.
Why?
I was like, I see nothing.
I am on the right space. Change. Move everybody to. Yes. Oh, I see. I see. I see.
We sure don't, though.
Yeah, that's right. I see what I did, and I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
Yep.
I see something.
Don't want to talk about it. I may have put you on the light layer.
I'm in a tunnel.
Yep.
Oh.
So this tunnel, as you make your way into it,
There it is.
a couple of things to note. First off, the walls become laden with moss. And on the ground, it almost looks as if grass is sprouting up. The elves both kind of give each other a quizzical look, because the grass in question is sprite grass, which is native to the Feywild, not the material plane. Up ahead, you see a couple of bright red, kind of strange blossoms. They're kind of like those flowers that have kind of petals that go up in kind of like a cone. I don't know what they're called because I'm not a botanist or a florist. Those like kind of long, flowery kind of flowers.
Like a hollyhock?
Yeah, let's go with that. And a torch, or not a torch, but a small campfire. More of a brazier, really, and settled next to it are a couple of barrels. It looks like the passageway up ahead will kind of caddy to the left, but that's what you see when you first enter into the space where you're able to kind of move past the stonework and get to the grassy part.
Aria will wait for Tremaine to get in the front where he belongs.
Onward, our fearless vanguard.
Okay. Are you moving forward? You're moving forward, Scout. Okay. Are you moving forward briskly? Are you moving forward quietly? Are you moving forward?
Quietly.
Okay.
Carefully.
Go ahead and make a stealth check for just the leader. Whoever is in the front, you decide who's going to be the first person out.
Tremaine, the front is over here.
Or your scout could also be the person
Front is
leading
over
the
where?
front.
I can't see anything, so he's not supposed to see anything, right?
Oh god, your token is still broken. Broken token.
It's like, why isn't Tremaine like reacting to my bullying?
Because somebody did not click on update token when they updated the token, and that's me. I did that. That's the one who did it. It's me.
Oh, I see.
there we go.
You're the problem.
Happening.
How about now?
Yeah. So this is the front.
Are we Torbane's in the front? We're
Yeah.
going with defense forward. Okay.
Is that all right?
Then, Torbane, go ahead and make a stealth check, which I believe
Yes.
you are
I'm really
wearing.
getting my heavy armor. Let's go.
Clunk, clunk,
14. 14 is not bad.
14's pretty good. Okay, so you make your way to the fire. It looks like it is a real fire that is burning, and the barrels that are next to it upon inspection, appear to have markers that note them as being oil barrels. Give me a perception check.
Sure thing. Use fire by these barrels. I'm not going to use fire by these barrels. Oh, I got a 6.
Okay. You feel like if you get closer, you can inspect them more thoroughly to see what's going on here, but you're not sure what this is about.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to get closer, inspect them more thoroughly.
Okay. Ronnie, you're right behind him, and because you two are kind of a pair, I'm going to let you make a... Before you move, Andy, go ahead and move back. Go ahead and make a perception check.
Come on. Get it, Ronnie.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, no.
So both of the elves are blind to it. You walk over to the barrels, and as you do so, everyone hears a twing as you watch a tripwire get pulled by Tormain's big, dumb, elvish foot.
Shields up.
And you see that this causes these tight lines to go taut that are connected to the barrels, and when they lift, it puts them right in the way of the brazier fire. They immediately go shh, and then boom as an oil explosion detonates. Dexterity saving throw from just Tormain.
Bye, guys. Good knowing you. 22.
That's a
Hey.
deception check. What are you rolling?
Oh,
gonna-
Shit, that's charisma. Sorry.
He
We're gonna-
tells the barrels
we're-
he's not actually there and
gonna keep
escapes.
we're gonna keep the dice roll. But yeah, he says. Sorry, I'm sorry for tromping
let's
over
roll.
your joke, Tom. It was really good.
18 plus.
18 is the dice
19,
number.
19.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
totally fine. It's way lower than that, my guy. I wouldn't do that to you. This is player 1. Boom! So you're going to take half of 16, which will be 8, as you kind of bring up the shield and kind of push yourself against the wall. The fire that kind of explodes outward kind of rocks you, kind of like throws you back a little bit. But for the others, it's an absolutely loud sound that you're pretty sure anyone within like 300 to 500 feet would be able to hear.
And you could, if you turn around, you could see there's like smoke coming off of his shield.
his hair
And
is a little
his hair is a
curly.
little bit curly, yeah. Crispy ends. Oh. Yeah. I missed that. We need a rogue.
Oh no, it ruined your perm.
Yeah.
His Brazilian blowout.
So in the immediate aftermath of the explosion, what's the next step? And also those red flowers that were present, they're gone.
Oh, Tremaine sits down on the
Aw.
ground. That's what he does.
Soul is gonna say it'll be okay and use healing word to restore some of that, melted plate, melted elf.
Roll it. The healing word.
And then 1d4 because of the dagger.
Yeah. So 3.
Wow, that's 3 ones in a row. Okay, I
You
can't.
fixed the perm.
Nice job.
You get 3 back. Great rolls. Love to start off strong.
Yeah, great. minimum.
Okay, so that's what Soul's doing in the immediate aftermath. Tormain says, sitting down. Ronnie,
Yeah.
what are you doing in the immediate aftermath of the detonation?
Checking on him and then checking the area for any other traps,
Perception
specifically
roll.
like further.
You're being attentive. You're kind of keeping a wary eye
Yeah.
and maintaining contact. Okay. Give me a perception
Alright,
roll.
let's
And
go.
then Arya.
What the fuck?
That's
Uh,
there's got to be a problem here with the dice roller. Everyone's been
Got a
rolling
1.
once. No, the deception roll. Roll it again. Just roll it again. I just want to see if it's.
Well, I got a 7 last time.
Yeah, I know. Please just click it again.
Perception?
Yes, please.
no, it's just bad luck.
Wow.
Okay.
I mean, I kind of want to, I'm not good at this at all, but I also, I'm like, oh shit, there's like a big explosion. Like,
Paranoia.
have we been made? I'm looking around. I'm trying to listen.
Perception.
Remain's ears are ringing. He's just trying to gather himself together.
Oh, great. My thing is being really slow.
Okay, no worries.
Mine is
Just
being
don't
slow,
click it
too.
multiple
Plenty
times,
is slow
though.
right now.
Yeah, just click it the one time. It should be okay.
Oh, there
Well,
you go.
Hilarious. The orc kind of perks the ear.
Perks up a big orc ear.
You have
And
a
you
plus
hear
0. I have a plus 4. This isn't fair.
you hear what sounds like dwarf language, because you kind of heard body dwarves or whatever. You know, dwarves are around. There's definitely a dwarvish culture present, especially with the Black Spear and the Blaze Hatchets. But it sounds like the dwarfs are talking, but it sounds like there's orders being issued, and it's very direct. It sounds like they are kind of preparing for conflict based on just the attitude of the voices. You don't know what they're saying because you don't speak Dwarvish, but you can just get a vibe of like, it sounds like they're really mad. It sounds like we have been made.
Okay. I hear dwarves. They sound angry.
They're angry. We just got blown up.
Right, by their trap, which they probably set to keep people out of their lair.
Then you hear a voice
Monsters.
kind of echo, Waffly, is that you?
Oh, it's
Did
the
you
French
forget
elves.
about the traps we told you
Dwarves.
about? Huh? You
It's taking a
idiot!
lot of willpower to not yell out, Arnold, is that you? I'm
We
gonna.
gotta
gonna
get to the chopper! No, that's not. I was definitely trying to do a something, but I don't have it. I'm not really using an accent that I'm thinking of. I'm just kind of trying to sound goofy. I've listed characters who these people are supposed to sound like. If I do come off as offensive, please just say it to my face. I'm okay. I'm trying some new things. If it does come off as offensive,
You're good.
please put me
You're
in my
good.
place. 100%. I apologize.
Don't
I'm
think
just-
for a second,
I'm
John.
trying
I will
this
not
voice
call
acting
you out.
thing. I'm trying to make my characters more flavorful. If I fuck up, please absolutely cancel me. But yeah, you hear, "Ah, is that you, Waffly crew?
No.
Ah, who are you?
Sorry, we're adventurers. We saw the note and we were kind of checking on things.
You hear, Ridkoff, something in Dwarvish.
Are you with the Altos?
Oh yeah. And then
Oh, we were
Oh.
told that you guys were missing. Are you okay?
you hear a, hold on a second. You are elf?
Yeah.
Come around the way. Let us see you.
Okay.
And then you hear Ridkoff,
Wait,
and then something in Dwarvish. It sounds
Wait,
like they keep
let's
saying a person's
go
name,
together.
and the name of that person is Ridkoff.
What the hell just happened?
Someone click the fiery effect.
I know, that was fucking amazing.
I got
They're
some
pretty
more.
cool, yeah.
Wait, what happened?
Wait!
The ruler has spell effects on it now.
Hold on,
Oh.
sorry. There will be a tripwire, like the one you just triggered. Don't step on it, step over it. It's
Oh. Okay.
it's near the wagon.
Oh. Oh. There.
And when you kind of come around the way, no perception check needed. You will see that in between the wheel of it and connected to the other side, there does appear to be a kind of very thin filament of like fish line, catgut probably.
It's really clever. Good job.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah.
Tremaine rolls the dice.
You come around the way, and when you do, I'm gonna try and ignite this. Let's hope this works, because this place should be
Okay.
well lit.
Ignite,
I know, right?
Change the.
Gotta change the
raise.
Does it show everything or no?
No, not yet. Give it a
Oh,
sec.
I see.
then.
I see.
Oh shit! Oh my god, that scares me every
Whoa.
time. Oh, beautiful.
When you come around a corner, the first thing that you'll see that is the ground in front of
Wow.
you appears to be worked in stone. The stone in question, directly in front of you, appears to be a very ancient and stylized carving in the ground. If you have history trained, you immediately recognize this as Old Ordris. The center isle of Lavidia is known as Ordris, where the Storm Herald reigns. and this appears to be the kind of structural design patterning of that culture. Specifically, like the originators of that culture.
That is very weird.
You see other structures that are present here that have similarities in kind to it, but it looks like everything's kind of fallen in disarray, and there's a bit of a pit structure in the center of the space. Flowing in from the northwest wall is water. It seems to be descending through, not unlike the water that you encountered in the cavern structure beneath the blacksmith. Piped in through the walls in narrow cracks, and sometimes it almost looks like it's just ejecting through just 2 points of contact on stone. And it descends deeper into darkness. From this perspective, you can't tell what's beneath. Place is well lit. It looks like there's a couple of different camps that are present, but one seems to be specifically held, maintained, and has people in it. On the far side of the cavern, you see, firstly, a 7-foot-tall man made out of metal wearing a toga. The best way to describe it. And he appears to be a Undaunted. For those who aren't familiar, this being kind of the first time these have been introduced, other than that one that was walking around inside of the town. Undaunted are what my campaign setting calls Warforged. Unlike Everon, we didn't have a huge Great War in our background, so there's no reason for these kind of entities to be known as Warforged. They weren't built for that. They were built for different purposes. And Undaunted is kind of a reflection on the soul being kind of unburdened by the past that it had. Because souls for Undaunted are born afresh. They are either like souls that have been have never lived, like unborn souls, or they are souls that have been wiped clean of their original kind of station and reincarnated effectively into these new forms.
I just want to make the joke. Okay, Underdark Marine.
He carries a short sword, and it looks like he's holding his massive arm up, as if he were holding a shield, but there is no shield in his hand. Behind him, and kind of stationed in a way that, like, it's very hard to see him specifically, but his massive crossbow, well, at least massive to him, crossbow kind of juts out past the big metal man, is a red-headed dwarf who appears to be staring down the barrel of his crossbow. A little smaller in picture than I imagine it would be in game. It's quite big. It's a heavy crossbow, and it looks like it has like a barrel underneath, which at this juncture is probably flaring bright radiant yellow light in your direction like a flashlight. Then the one who is talking in the accent seems to be the closest. He's wearing spiky armor, quite different than the one that was worn by the blacksmith. This one appears to be some sort of plate armor with spikes upon it, and he's wielding 2 weapons, what appears to be a war pick and what appears to be a morning star or mace. And then last but not least, a dwarf who is the one that was talking and seemed to be the leader, asking if you were an elf. Wields a big axe, looks like a very just stereotypical dwarf barbarian. With the
cold.
marker of Averiu, or sorry, rather, the marker of Ashtar, good specifically on his chest. He says, "Your lord sanctioned?"
Yeah.
Huh. Well then. Come, drink with us. And that is where we'll end the session for tonight. Thanks for watching those that did, and we will see you next Friday.
Bye.